Brief starts now.
What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I actually know what day it is today. Oh, this new thing. Hold on. I have to lift it up higher than I need it because then it like falls into place. Like right when I was going on, my little whatever this thing is called for my audio and video was making a fuzzy noise. And I was like, what the heck? It never does that. That's freaking weird. Well, how are you guys doing today? We're halfway through the week. We're 2 days closer to our interview or conversation with Matthew Tuzzarone and Mitchell Manley. That's this Friday at 7 p.m. It's going to be a great show. You won't want to miss it. You're going to want to mark your calendars. All right. And then we're even going to start with something that's going to lead into some of the things that, well, one of the things that we're going to be definitely focusing on Friday, which is some of the people within Turning Point Action, Turning Point USA. Both Mitch and Matt at their time at TPUSA and Turning Point Action, both, came to understand pretty quickly and being there that Tyler Boyer was somebody, I don't know, like somebody not to mess with, but like someone to look out for, like look out to be weary of, and, Matthew Tuzzarone said when he told people within Arizona, when he got hired there, they were like, you need to look out for Tyler Boyer. And interestingly enough, Candace has echoed the same sentiment. And today, we're going to look at a clip of her speaking of Tyler, where she says that very thing. And what's interesting too, Matt Tuzzarone has a specific experience with Tyler Boyer that Mitch also had almost identical, similar experience with Tyler Boyer that we're going to break down on Friday, which I think goes to show both of them are credible, right? Both of them obviously worked there and they have their own experiences. But both of them had an, interaction with Tyler that it corroborates one another, even though they didn't know each other, and so that's like three different sources, independent sources, which corroborate one another. You have Matt, Candace, and then Mitchell Manley. So, it's going to be a good show. You won't want to miss it. Thank you guys for being here today. And please, as you guys come in, do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe. It is the best way to help support this channel. And I appreciate it every single time that you do it. And unfortunately, you do have to do it every single time. It's not like you can like one video and it likes the rest for you. Every time you show up, you got to hit the like. What is NDAA? What does that stand for? It's a bill that passed. Which one? What is NDAA? I see everyone talking about NDAA. Somebody throw that in the chat. What is the NDAA? It passed in the House. Is that the one where it's going to be like a draft? They're going to bring back the draft? Yeah. Emerging military? National Defense Authorization Act. Okay. Right. Merging. Right. So merging us with Israel, right? Merging us with Israel, right? Oh, great. With the parasite. Yeah. Great. It just kind of goes to show like we're being run by a bunch of evil freaking megalomaniacs that could care less if we die. I don't know any of these very wealthy oligarchs that any of their children ever sign up for the military. I mean, back in the day, there was like, JFK and his brothers, were in the military. One of his brothers died in the Navy. So Somebody gave me a hard time because in the comment section, they're like, "You're not supposed to read the gifts. You're not supposed to read it." And I was like, "I haven't seen these until this week. I didn't even know what these were. I had to ask Mystic. I was like, what are these things?" They are new to me. So I was like, I don't know. I thought people were paying for them. So I was like, I'm going to read it. It's somebody's money, you know? So I'm just going to do me, like, whatever. If you want to do something different, you can start your own channel. That's fine. Old school Mike, 44 gems, unk alert. I'm going to do me. I'm going to read them because I think people do pay for them. There is monetary like value attached to them. It's still fuzzing in the background. Hopefully that's not on your guys' end. And hopefully you guys can hear me good. Usually my wife or Mystic texts me and says, audio, video, good. Audio, video, good. Yeah, Authorization Act 216, 212, mostly. Yeah, okay. Got it. No audio, video, thumbs up. No bueno, Mystic. Audio, video, bueno. All right. Let's get into it. All right. I'll get to the gifts as they come along, but let's get right into it. All right. Let's watch Candace Owens real quick.
We are told in the end that he kind of reversed course on everything that he was. He becomes a drug addict. His empire gets smashed, divided.
Right, this is the end of the Howard Hughes part, and then it goes into Tyler Boyer. So just bear with me. That's what she's ending on, Howard Hughes.
And the articles reflect that he was infiltrated, or heavily imply, by this Mormon mafia, as they termed it. That's where the term literally comes from. And it's interesting. And the reason why I came across this guy's name, truly, I am not a movie person, was because when I was researching one of the Maroon Boys, who I'm not naming at this time, I did discover that he was a relative of the Hughes family empire. I thought, oh, who is this? Who is this Howard Hughes? And then I was speaking to some LDS church members who were then telling me the story, and I started reading the articles and going, wow, this is super fascinating. It's also interesting because I have been consistently telling you guys before all of this, before I knew anything, that ostensibly Turning Point USA is an evangelical Christian organization.
Oh, hold on. Let me try something. Oh, look at that. You guys can see it in the background. My brother-in-law is so cool. Let's see. I think we're going to try this. We're going to go same size so I'm not so itty bitty living space. What cartoon is that from? Itty bitty living space. I like this side by side. We'll go here.
Reality, it's a lot of Mormons. Like half of the company, it's Mormons. Tyler Boyer, I have been telling you from the beginning, was the person that was in control of everything.
Yep.
The hiring, the firing. Charlie, he has described, he followed Charlie. Charlie did all the work, but Tyler controlled a lot of things.
Yep.
There are a ton of LDS church members who work for Turning Point USA who were brought in by Tyler. In fact, on the day that he was...
I got to give a shout out. Who got it first? Let's see. Who got it first? It is... Well, it's not it's Aladdin. Yes, it's Aladdin. Adian? Oh, I think you missed the L. Aladdin, Disney. Yes. Itty bitty living space. You got it.
Murdered. Charlie himself confirmed that. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can take Charlie's word for it at UVU. This is what he said. Take a listen.
Right there. Let me just continue. I love how Mormons and missionaries around the world. I love how polite they are. I have my team is Mormon. Terrell's a Mormon. Andrew's a Mormon. Mormons are anything I say, everybody, I'm an evangelical Christian. We're going to have fun with this, but I'm not one of those guys that hates on Mormons.
So I was on an X Space, and did you guys know? So I know quite a bit about the LDS faith, personal experience, and really close family friends. Well, for me, when I was growing up, pretty much was like partially raised in an LDS home. And I converted briefly when I was 18. And, you know, I was seeking a lot of things at that age. And the family dynamic and the closeness that I never experienced growing up was so appealing to me. And I hadn't yet done all my due diligence as to the complete ins and outs of that faith, you know. And sadly, after I was baptized is when I continued to do that research and learn more. And I was so nervous that I would lose my friend, telling him that I was no longer, I didn't really believe all the things, you know. If it was just the same as Christianity, then it would have been fine. But it was a lot of other things. And if you don't know, well, it is. And so, and it did kind of hurt the relationship for a while. But having said that, I wanted to talk about, did you guys know? So mission trips is super important, right? So evangelism, converting people to the LDS religion is super important. It's also a great cover for like pre-training for future possible intel. And it's a great cover for intel, young LDS bilingual men that can travel around the world with a great cover that they're missionaries in another country. There is very, very deep ties to the LDS religion and the CIA. It goes back all the way back towards the inception of the CIA, and it's only gotten deeper since the OSS became the CIA. And I don't know if you know, in Utah, there is a massive military base most people don't even know about, and it's called the Dugway Proving Grounds. It is largely underground, mainly underground. It is what took over most of the, well, there's so many top secret, military bases around the country. You have Crane. I mean, there's so many, right? And then you have like the laboratories, and then you have like the Department of Energy. But Dugway Proving Grounds is also where supposedly, and I do believe this from people that I've listened to, a lot of the things that used to be at Area 51 got sent there once Area 51 was publicly admitted to exist during Obama. But Israel, has a really big, relationship with the LDS faith, and the LDS have BYU out there, but they had to have an agreement. So I brought up missionary work being pivotal to their religion, and it is, right? Almost every young man and most young women, depending if they get married early or not, are expected, not as much so as the young women, but are expected to do a missions trip. But in Israel, they're allowed to have the BYU there, but guess what they had to agree to? No missionary work in Israel. No door knocking in Israel. So for a religion where evangelizing and doing mission trips is such a key tenet of their faith, they agreed to not do literally what God's told them to do, God's calling them to do, because some man told them, no, you're not going to do that here. You can have your campus here, but you can't do your evangelize it. You can't do your missionary work here. And they agreed to it. So ask yourself, so then what's the purpose of them being there? Yes, there's a huge history and foundation of like archaeology within the LDS religion because of Joseph Smith, him, quote unquote, finding the golden tablets, him finding, ancient Egyptian manuscripts where it supposedly spoke of, a lost tribe that left Israel, made its way to Central America, where it, they encountered Native Americans and, became part of the indigenous people known as like the Lephites, and I think it's like the Lamanites and the, or Nephites. Man, I'd have to go back and brush up on my LDS Mormon history, but I know it's the Nephites. I know that's one of them, but there's a couple others. But yeah, so why would a religion agree to that? Well, I would have to say maybe because of the Mossad's out there. All right. And it's in the Middle East. There's a lot going on. It's a great hub to have, a good cover, a lot of, young CIA agents going to BYU as just LDS students. So She's not wrong. And remember, Tyler Boyer was in Romania, and he also was somewhere in Eastern Europe, and he speaks Russian fluently. And he was over there when Erika Kirk was over there. And it always has been debated, when did Erika Kirk and Tyler Boyer meet? They did not meet at the 2015 Trump rally, okay? Because there was a phone call, and they both have told different stories. They both have said there, but then Tyler at another time said, well, either Erika called him or he called Erika to be at the Trump rally, because she was placed right behind the podium, right in camera shot. And in order for that to have happened, she spoke to Tyler first. So, I mean, clearly they knew each other before the Trump rally. Neither of them want to actually admit when they met. I believe they either have known each other their whole lives, like Tyler and Terrell Farnsworth, because Erika Kirk grew up in Arizona. Tyler Boyer's family is a pivotal LDS political family out there. 7th generation Arizonian. Erika Kirk's mother is deeply tied in the military out there, government contracts out there, and you would want to rub elbows with high society when you're doing those things. So I bet when Erika said a family friend introduced us, right? And at another time, I think she said family friend as well. That's more than just saying I met somebody at a Trump rally. I met someone in my young adulthood. Family friend is like, we're basically family, but we're friends, but we're family friends. Our families know each other. We're all friends. We've been friends for a long time. Tyler Boyer found his way, and I played that clip of him, I don't know, last week, where when he meets Charlie, flies out to meet Charlie, sees him speak, and he goes, I can hitch my wagon to him. Remember, this is the same guy that was investigated and was being prosecuted federally until Trump pardoned him. There still could be state charges brought against Tyler Boyer. It hasn't happened yet, but could be. There's also been illegalities in Tyler's political past when he sat on the chair of some committee. I forget what it was, but he's not the most honest, ethical, stand-up person. And then when you think about what they did to Howard Hughes, okay, think about MK Ultra, right? Think about dosing somebody without them knowing. Think about making somebody extremely paranoid to where they didn't want to touch anyone. They didn't want to leave their hotel room. He became a recluse. He became OCD. He wasn't like that before. What was the triggering event in Howard Hughes's life that made him go full schizo? And I would have to say, being in Vegas, right? There's deep ties to the Jewish mob, right? The Italian mafia and the LDS mafia, right? And all of those have ties to FBI and CIA. They've always kind of, the CIA and FBI have always utilized organized crime for their own benefit. And I definitely think that there's a huge part in that in Howard Hughes's story, which Candace touched on today. But all those same people, at least the descendants of the people that were around with Howard Hughes, now it's their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, are the ones that were all surrounding Charlie. I don't know if Charlie, he had to have known. So this is what's so mind-blowing to me. And I don't want to offend anybody. I'm sorry if you're LDS. I don't consider LDS Christians, just like I don't consider Jehovah's Witnesses Christians. So when you add a whole new book onto the already existing canon of the Old Testament and the New Testament, you establish a whole new priesthood, or what they believe is they reestablish the priesthood. And then you create all these other things that people have to do in order to be right with God. that no longer is Christianity. It is in my opinion, perverted, distorted version of Christianity. I should be able to make it to, well, and I don't, they believe in 3 different heavens. And in order to make it to the very, very highest heaven, you have to be baptized in the temple. You have to be a full tithing member. You can't lose your member card. And you need to be married in the temple, sealed in the temple, and your children that you have also need to be sealed in the temple. And then there's other practices as well that aren't biblical, baptism by proxy and other things as well. And so I don't know. Charlie was such a smart guy. How did he not know? Yeah, they are polytheistic, actually, because they believe that the God of this earth actually was a man from a previous earth that was able to reach the 3rd heaven, all right, with his mother god, his wife, and then they procreate their own earth. That's part of the doctrine, right? That if you can make it to the 3rd heaven, meaning you've done all the things right, you're not just saved by Christ's blood alone. It's not on faith. It's much more on works. There's a component of faith, a profession of faith, but then there's all of this works involved. That if you do make it to this 3rd heaven and your wife and your children are sealed with you and they do as well, then you and your wife get to procreate your own earth somewhere else. And then you become God of that earth. So that's what I don't know about what Charlie was thinking. I mean, obviously, a political organization, LDS members vote Republican, yes. And in order to achieve a goal, he was willing to, he was a bridge builder. He was a coalition builder. And that means, he's not going to be able to like every single person he associates with and agree with everything they say. But, I don't know. It bothers me that he had so many of these individuals working inside the organization, all of which seem to have capitalized on his death. And so hopefully we continue to find out more about that. But ultimately, I feel that, Tyler Boyer, Terrell Farnsworth, and Philip Goldsberry, all are very sus. And I hope we find out more. And this Friday, we're definitely going to hear a lot more from Matthew Tuzzaroni and from Mitchell Manley about Tyler Boyer and some other things going on inside the organization. All right, but let me continue with Candace Owens. Sorry.
Half my team is Mormon. He's telling the truth. And then he says, Andrew, he's not referring to Andrew Colbert. He's referring to the person that picks what stops he goes onto. Who runs the field program. That is a Mormon. And Tyler's a Mormon. He's talking. Terrell's a Mormon. Terrell's the guy who takes down the cameras, the Farnsworth guys, and all of these people.
Terrell's the guy that runs Visual Impulse, the media company that ran a lot of the different events.
Knew Erika before Erika knew Charlie.
Yep.
These families knew Erika before Erika knew Charlie. Tyler Boyer handled the money at Turning Point USA.
Yep.
I have text messages to that effect, proving that he was behind Turning Point Action. He was the COO first of Turning Point USA, then became the COO of Turning Point Action. And yes, he brought in Erika of that. There is no doubt. They have both admitted that.
Yep.
But she can't remember how she knows him.
Yep.
She told me maybe through Senator John Kill, maybe that's what she told me in our face-to-face meeting, but she can't recall that specific detail of the guy who set her up to go on a...
Now think about why, ladies and gentlemen. Like, why? Let's see if I do this. Oh, no, it doesn't do it. I would have to go to here. Okay, that's fine. I can do that. Imagine why would Erika... I don't think she doesn't remember. Okay, there's no way she didn't remember living in China. She didn't remember drinking and dating in New York. She didn't forget. Okay, it's that the reality and the truth is inconvenient to who she is now. Okay, back then it wasn't an inconvenience because she was a liberal boss babe, corporate climbing, secular girl, and it was fine for her to be that way then. Okay. But once she married Charlie, and now, especially even more so now, it would be a very big inconvenience for her if we found out that they knew each other this whole time, their whole life, because they both lived in Arizona near each other, and their parents probably knew each other and worked, if not were associated with each other and ran in similar high society circles. It's even possible that they either knew each other before or met when Erika was running Romanian Angels and was in Romania and Eastern Europe with the United States Marine Corps. And that when Tyler was on his mission over there, that they were introduced or ran into each other or met each other or something, right? Either way, saying you don't remember how you met someone is insane when you're not 85 with dementia and Alzheimer's. Okay. I know exactly where I met everyone that I'm like friends with, like actual, like if we know each other, like I know exactly where I met them and when. I mean, if it's just someone in passing and you're not really friends, you might be like, you don't have a lot of memories to pull from. So you're like, actually, I don't remember where I met him, but you're like, with friends, people you're very well acquainted with and close with, you know where you met them. You know how long you've met them. Yeah. So she knows. It's just the truth about that meeting, about how long and when and where. That truth will be too damaging to who she's trying to pretend and sell to us who she is, because she's not. And Tyler's helping with that. And remember, Tyler tried to set up 4 different meetings before she finally meets Charlie in the Hamptons. Okay. This seems to have been something in the works. I even think her dating Cabot Phillips could have been a way for her to get closer to Charlie, because I don't know. I just have that feeling like Cabot Phillips never seemed to have been anyone going anywhere or doing anything on the level that Charlie was going to do, or that what Erika was wanting in a spouse. Okay. Dating semi-pro while they were in the minors, but had the potential to go to the majors. Upward mobility. That seems to be the kind of man she was looking for. Someone that at least was on his way up to the top and had the potential to go to the top. Cabot Phillips didn't fit that bill. I do find it, I wish we could find out if Charlie, like, what did Charlie know about her dating Cabot Phillips and if he was okay with that? Because I don't know, that'd just be weird. But I definitely think that Erika, this was a long game. If Tyler came into Charlie's life in 2015, that's when I think the game plan began, maybe even earlier, but for sure then was to find a way to get Charlie and Erika to meet one another and set them up. And just keep in mind, a girl will determine whether or not a man asks her to marry him if she is a couple things. If she's pretty, and if she meets all the other requirements and, you know, all the requirements that a man has on his list for a woman, if she meets them and she's gorgeous and she can make him believe that she's in love with him, that's all it would take for a man to then ask her to marry him. Really. Okay. So and she used to be better looking, I thought, when she was younger. I think her personality has made her extremely unattractive to me. But to Charlie, especially a young Charlie, before she has kids and she's young, all she has to do is pretend to be really Christian and to have people that Charlie goes to vet her, and they just have to vet her on her behalf, like Tyler and Terrell and all these other people. It wouldn't have been hard for him to come to the conclusion that, oh my gosh, she's an amazing Christian, beautiful, honest woman. We have the same principles, you know? And then all she's got to do is turn on the charm and make him believe that she's in love with him. And that would literally be it. And that's literally what I believe happened. So yeah, we need to keep looking into Tyler for sure.
Interview with the love of her life, apparently.
Yeah.
I remember the last face-to-face conversation that I had with Tyler. We were backstage at AmFest, and I was telling him that Charlie should just debate Nick Fuentes. There was some Groyper stuff going on as usual at these events in the hallways. And I was like, just sit down and just have the debate. I think it's just worth having it. And he told me that Turning Point USA was never not going to be pro-Israel. They would always be pro-Israel. In retrospect, that's a weird thing to say.
It is.
Especially a weird thing to consider since its founder was quite literally going against Israel in those last months. That Charlie Kirk wrote explicitly he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause. And according to Charlie, he felt that he was being morally blackmailed at Bill Ackman's house in the Hamptons by Seth Dillon and others. I'll be clear, he didn't say Bill Ackman morally blackmailed him, but Seth Dillon, he did say, I've been morally blackmailed by Seth Dillon. So I know exactly what Charlie Kirk was referring to.
Yeah.
He was being pressured. And he decided, no more. He gets a phone call from Bibi Netanyahu. We still don't know really what happened during that phone call, but we know his wife was by his side. We know that Charlie wanted to, 7 days before he died, to establish a Doge audit at his company. That's a fact.
Yep.
He doesn't know, apparently, where all the money is going. I am told specifically.
Okay, wait. So before we move on too much further, I have to hit this because there is a lot of hullabaloo going on right now online, a lot of which happened when Mitch Snow came onto the scene, right? Trying to discredit him, trying to say that, you can't trust him, attacking his past so that people will not listen to the things that he's saying. Well, it's interesting. It's happening right now with Matthew Tuzzarone and with Mitchell Manley. One of the things that we're going to talk about more in depth on Friday and also it was on the last episode where Mitchell and I were talking about Nick Fuentes and how Mitchell was texting Tyler and a couple of the guys in this group to get Charlie to debate Nick Fuentes. And Tyler said, never. Likewise, Matthew Tuzzarone also has an experience of the same thing. Both of these people said this separately to me at separate times, one of which, Matt, I didn't even know Mitch yet. And Mitch said it without having had talked to Matt. And now Candace has said it without having talked to either of them. So, I mean, that I'll just say to me, they check out. So, I mean, yeah, but here we go. It says bombshell. Candace Owens just confirmed what multiple whistleblowers have been saying. Revealed on her show today that in her last conversation with Tyler Boyer, she raised the idea of Charlie Kirk debating Nick Fuentes. According to Candace, Tyler shut it down hard, saying they don't support anything in opposition to Israel, not even a debate. This matches exactly what I exposed back in January on Stu Peters. A TP Action colleague of mine was pulled into Tyler Boyer's office for a review, simply for asking, what's the big deal about Israel? Tyler responded by declaring he was a Zionist in a tone that came across as threatening. Don't ask questions. Just nights ago, Artifacts added another piece. He was in a text thread with Andrew Colvett actively pushing to get Charlie and Nick on stage together. That was also shut down by the team and Tyler. 3 separate whistleblowers, 3 different moments. We've never met in person and barely coordinated. Yet our stories line up perfectly with receipts and clips. I've put the 3 key clips on one video. The corroboration is undeniable. And yeah, this isn't random. It's a clear pattern of sidelining America First voices the second they stepped outside the Israel priority. Watch the full video and see for yourself. Let's do it, actually.
That I had with Tyler.
Oh, let me turn it up.
At AmFest, and I was telling him that Charlie should just debate Nick Fuentes. There was some Groyper stuff going on as usual at these events in the hallways, and I was like, just sit down and just have the debate.
So I apologize. This is obviously rehashing what I just played.
I think it's just worth having it. And he told me that Turning Point USA was never not going to be pro-Israel. They would always be pro-Israel. In retrospect, that's a weird thing to say, especially a weird thing to consider since its founder was quite literally going against Israel in those last months. That Charlie Kirk wrote explicitly.
You know, I suggested Charlie debate Nick as far back as 2021 just to kind of, you know, brush that under the rug. I felt like
What did
Charlie could.
think?
Charlie was never in the chat. It was Andrew Colvett and Tyler and their gang of managers who were like, no, we're not gonna know Nick, and you know, we're gonna actually decide who Charlie reaches out to. Yeah, it's on my Twitter. I can send it to you. And
so you don't think it never got to Charlie? I
don't know. Well, the thing is, Charlie also was not even like engaging with Nick at the time because he was a troll, and that was the whole thing. And so my whole thing was like, bro, if you think he's a troll and you think his ideas are this bad, debate him and end the argument once and for all. And also your video will break the internet because Tyler himself said we should debate, you know, high followed trolls. And I was like, oh, perfect. Let's debate Nick then. And you'll have this first episode. It'll be a banger. We'll end him once and for all. And we can kind of put this to rest. And they were just like, no, Nick.
The Zionist cause. He said he was going to be forced to leave the pro-Israel cause. It's completely understandable that employees at Turning Point would ask leadership, well, what direction are we going to go in on this Israel issue? Was Tyler Boyer ever asked that explicitly, and what was his answer?
Specifically, Tyler Boyer, I would say, so my friend, when she was in his office, said to him, you know, what is it that you have? Why are you so against Candace Owens, the Israel cause, etc.? She's brave. She's bold. She'll ask Tyler Boyer right to his face because she wants to know what is the big deal about not supporting Israel. That's when he shut the door, pulled her in, and said, listen, I'm a Zionist. Candace Owens is a Black conservative who wants to be relevant in this movement. And she's doing whatever she can at all costs to stay relevant. So that to me says a lot. That is proof. And it's in the text that I sent you to, Stu, of where she confirmed, like, yes, you know, he pulled me into his office and said that to me.
What does this also say? Okay, I believe they both used Charlie to become famous, rich, and eventually destroy him. Tyler then brings Erika in, and the rest is history. Oh, God. So you think she does like Tyler? I think she is Mossad. Tyler laughed off the embezzlement shell company stuff last time I saw him. Tyler is for sure compromised all the way. The fact that Tyler pulled you into his office and said he was a Zionist is nuts to me. Chris Chavez said the exact same thing. That's the other guy that was in a lot of trouble at Turning Point Action. And then Tyler appointed himself HR to sweep it under the rug, even though he's not HR. He took over, though. You know?
So in the wake of Charlie's death, Boyer seemingly almost proud and outspoken that he was a Zionist to the core.
Yeah.
And that he and Erika would not be continuing the anti-Zionism path that Charlie was planning on heading down.
No way.
I mean,
Correct.
This kind of brazenness in claiming that he's a proud Zionist, it reminds me of Erika Kirk's Shabbat Shalom, Daddy's Home comment on the Fox News channel while she was wearing an Israeli flag pin.
Yep. Insane. Oh, it stopped. Sorry, hold on. I was trying to update my monitor on the right. Let's go back here. And let me fix my thing because I do hear it now. Making a bunch of fuzzy noise. I don't know why it's doing that. Hopefully it's not doing it for you guys. My brother-in-law and I were doing updates to the studio, and it looks like something changed in the soundboard. And it's a little staticky. Hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. All right, let's continue with Candace.
By Turning Point employees that the money was missing out of Turning Point Action. That is Tyler's arm. And yes, it may or may not be relevant that Tyler is sitting on the board of a company with Erika's mother, Lori Franzfey, who had those relationships with the Mormons, like Terrell Farnsworth before Charlie knew who Lori Franzwey and Erika Franzwey were. We are told that Charlie and Erika had an appointment to change his will, which was scheduled for the Monday
Before.
after he died. He never made it to that
After, I thought it
Monday.
was before.
He never made it to that appointment. He's then murdered in Utah. And then his wife assumes the reins of the company. The audit is magically canceled. Turning Point becomes virtually unrecognizable. Ben Shapiro slides into Charlie's studio with $1 million check in hand. Not even Ben Shapiro himself or Blake Neff could stomach the lie that Andrew Colvett tried to spin that Ben and Charlie were friends.
And remember, we played a clip, and man, that was going to be on another show, but then other things came up. I think I mentioned it, though, that Ben Shapiro said that after Charlie was assassinated, so we do know that he's on the phone with someone inside the SUV. Okay, it could be anyone, but I've speculated it's Frank because everyone else is supposedly doing something with their hands. Ben also calls Andrew Colvett right after the assassination, offers him everything, anything, all of what the Daily Wire could do at their disposal, not just monetary assistance, anything. And then he gives $1 million or a couple $1 million and is allowed to speak at the event. I find that interesting because after playing the clip we played yesterday, we know Charlie did not like Ben. Okay. If you guys remember, Andrew admitted it himself when he was on that one podcast with that old dude. I forget his name. Andrew had scheduled a podcast show Charlie's last week. Charlie didn't want to do it. That was Ben. Charlie was pissed. He didn't want to do it. Andrew made him. Andrew's also the guy that when Charlie said, I'm leaving the pro-Israel cause, that's Andrew he's talking to. And Andrew goes, well, and then Charlie goes, I'm going to have Candace on. I'm thinking of having Candace on. Andrew says, not a good idea. It looks like Andrew was handling and managing Charlie. So was Tyler Boyer. It looks like, and Andrew Colvett has deep ties back to Israel, the Adelsons, powerful, wealthy individuals, Jewish individuals. Andrew seems to be a true Zionist, like Tyler Boyer. Charlie Kirk was a Zionist, as I think many of us were. I mean, if we're not Catholic, if we're not Orthodox, if we were Protestant, growing up in the 90s and 2000s, I mean, it just was something. It was just part of it. And I never thought twice of it when I was younger. But for sure, I think he would have even considered himself to be a Zionist until 2023. And then things changed for Charlie. And when then Charlie began to question and call out individuals within the Israeli government and decisions that they were making that affected the lives of children and women and elderly and innocent people, over there in Palestine. And when he, in 2025, saw the war drums were beating largely by Israel, by Bibi specifically, I think more than ever. And he's also getting acquainted with, I don't call them conspiracies, but research that like Tucker Carlson did on 9/11. He was exposed to that college student that asked that question. That the Jews were behind 9/11, right? He goes, nah, but I think he heard. And then Tucker Carlson put out an amazing, 5-part series on 9/11, which there's a lot of fingers pointed back to that little country over there. That Charlie would have began to question not the good civilian Jewish remnant people, that are over there or even in the diaspora, but the Likud party these war hawks, these neocons, but in Israel, like Bibi and all of his ilk, when he opposed military intervention on behalf of Israel or at the behest of Israel, and he began to get a lot of ish when he was calling out October 7th, and he got a lot of flack. When he was calling out Jeffy Epi and that it looks like he was working on behalf of Israel and Mossad, he got a lot of flack. I think he started to realize that there's this power structure here in the United States that when you start to call out a specific people, a specific country, a specific group that has a tremendous amount of power, wealth, influence, control, that's the thing you're not allowed to do. I forget what the saying is. It's like, find out who you cannot criticize, and you have found your ruler, or something like that. And that's who controls you. That's who rules you. And we're allowed to make fun of our own presidents, our own government, our own politicians, but there's zero space to criticize Israel and anything they say and do. And I think he would have seen more and more as each day that he continued to do that, where the evil was, you know? And I don't think that ever meant that he would lose his affinity for the historical place of Christ. We know that it held such an important part in his life. He loved going there. He said he loved seeing where Jesus walked and did miracles and walked on water. John the Baptist, right? But that doesn't mean because there is historical foundation in this country that's tied to our faith that we have to blindly support the current rulers of that country, especially when they continually don't have anyone's interest except for their own at heart when they make decisions. And if you read the Talmud and you know what it says, they do not value our life. They don't. I'm not saying that's all Jews. It's not. It's not. But this radical, extreme group of war, you know, hungry, bloodthirsty, megalomaniac, narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic people that want power for power's sake and money so that they can have power. And they love to let you know that at a moment's notice, they can destroy you and destroy your life, whether that's through the legal system and draining you of time, money, and energy, destroying your name, or the ultimate card, which is taking somebody's life. So, you know, it's hard to not draw the parallel between what Charlie was saying and doing at the end of his life and how he ended up losing his life. And then how Erika and Tyler and Andrew and Blake, and also keep in mind, Mikey has got to be a Zionist too. He's raised by a Calvary Chapel pastor, Rob McCoy, that is so pro-Israel. Jack Hibbs, James Cadiz, Frank Turk, they all are. They are so, it's blinding to them. They can't see. And I don't know if it's by choice or it's just they're that evil or they're that stupid. It's hard to know with these people. But that the moment Erika took over, well, I think that was the day that Charlie Kirk's legacy died. 72 hours after Charlie Kirk was killed, When they announced Erika Kirk as the new CEO of Turning Point, Charlie Kirk's true legacy died that moment. When she got up in his office studio, she was wearing that white suit with the black undershirt and had the necklace dangling from her hand as she caressed the empty chair and says things like, this chair. That was the moment his true legacy died. You know? And to remind you real quick of how bad this has been from the very, very beginning, let's do a flashback real quick of something that just surfaced. It's old. It's not new. So this is like the day of, right? Or it is like the day after. I'd have to look at the date. But let's see. Let me pull it up. Let's see. I did bookmark it. Did I not? Hold on. I got to make sure I'm getting down there. Let me get down to the right one. There it is. All right. Pause. Share. Big screen. Boom. Okay. So Erika Kirk is right there. She's dangling the necklace out of the car. Okay. So if you go back, this is the hearse. This is either the, I don't know, mortuary or funeral home or I don't know. I don't know where this is, but it's like, obviously they have the casket, they have the hearse, and they're transporting Charlie's body. So this is within the first 72 hours. All right. And also, I guess it's going to be important to point something out. She has something in her possession that she should not have. All right. She should not have that necklace in her possession yet. She just shouldn't. Let me make sure I have the right timestamp. This is Julian Dory. What is it? 101. Let me make sure. Let me get my timestamp out real quick. I thought I transcribed it onto my notepad. Julian Dory 102. Okay. 101. That's fine. Let's start here. Wait. Yeah, let's start here.
Don't have generals sit around smoking cigars,
right?
And doing whatever, and people that are not credentialed to be there. They don't do it in an amphitheater. We talked about that. With JFK, I think there were actually stands in there.
It was like an episode of The Nick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's absurd. So in this particular case, they're going to follow standard procedure relative to the autopsy. They will have done a thorough external examination. They will have collected his clothing. There was some kind of surgical intervention. Remember, the surgeon makes a comment about he's seen the moose and the elk and all of that.
Right.
So they would have had to have collected his clothing, Charlie's clothing, because all of that is going to have some trace evidence value, either to include or exclude, because even though you see it on camera, you're not just going to assume that, okay, I'm going with what I see on camera. I'm going to examine this clothing. They would have collected his clothing if it was cut away or pulled off of him. That will go into evidence. I mean, everything that he was wearing, okay, period. That may or may not.
Everything that he was wearing, period, should go into evidence, period. Okay, I'm going to keep playing it, and then we're going to go back and look at that video of Erika.
Be brought to the morgue. My suspicion is if it was at the hospital, crime scene people would have gone to the hospital, collected said clothing, and entered that into evidence. Sometimes the pathologist will say, I want to see the clothing. Of course, in the case of JFK, I think those quote unquote pathologists, these Navy guys that did the autopsy on JFK, they didn't see his shirt for like 6 months.
That's helpful.
Okay. Anyway, times have changed. the evidence would have been collected relative to that. They would have done a thorough external examination on Charlie Kirk's remains. They would have done all of the external imaging.
All right, so now he goes into the external imaging, but I just wanted to point out that there is no way that in 48 hours that necklace was thoroughly examined and then released and determined not to have any meaningful evidence on it. There's just no way. I also don't believe that's the real necklace. And that's one of the reasons why I don't believe it. Also, because the story that they've told about the real necklace, that it was ripped off by the EMTs. Well, no EMTs assisted Charlie. The only EMTs that could have assisted Charlie were at UVU. They were turned away by Charlie's security team. You don't call medical staff at a hospital EMTs. They're not. They're doctors, nurses. Okay. So, and furthermore, we all saw his necklace snap, break, and fly over his head. So nobody cut or ripped Charlie's necklace off of him. All right. They tell a story. Frank tells the story that the necklace was on Frank's bag when he went down to the car and someone handed it to him and it was there dangling on his bag. And this was after the FBI and the authorities searched the car and it got released back to Frank and the security team. So you're telling me they didn't ask valuable questions to find out whose necklace that was? They would have bagged and tagged everything. You know, everything is potential evidence until you rule that it's not. And that's what Joseph Morgan basically just said, right? Everything, every article of clothing. Erika also had mentioned on the Jesse Waters interview that they gave her some of his clothing from that day to take home. They released articles of clothing to her to take home. So we also know that the SUV was not thoroughly put through a true crime scene investigation process. They cleared it in a matter of hours. Released it back to the team, who then gets it detailed, gets it back to the rental car company, who gets it detailed, and then they auction it and sell it, and it's gone. You know? So when she's hanging this necklace out the window, I feel like I guess there's a possibility because of how freaking messed up this whole thing has been, how bad the FBI and the local state police and the State Bureau of Investigations in Utah, how they all have dropped the ball so bad that it's possible it's the necklace. It's possible. I also don't think it is, because the necklace that she holds when she's in the office giving her first address to the nation as Charlie's widow, you know, and going to be the new CEO, it has all three pendants on it. If you were to go look at the George McClintock Wilson photos from the day of the event, you don't see any other pendants under Charlie's shirt. And you can see it's it's like polyester, right? It's a different fabric than like a normal cotton shirt. And when Charlie's wearing, you can see the chain and you can actually see the cross completely. You can see the cross. You can't see, and the cross is flush on his chest. Okay. So if he had these other pendants that were, so he had a cross, supposedly the way she holds it and the way you see it when she's in the car on a interview shortly after, I think it was Jesse Waters, but when they're in the car driving, she's like holding it in her hands and playing with it. The cross is in the center and then each pendant is on the other side. That would have made the cross not sit flush flat up against Charlie's chest. It would have made it tilt because all three pendants would have been together. That's not what you see in any of the photos. So I believe that he was only wearing the cross on the necklace that day. And yeah. And so her hanging this out the window and her acting and, you know, more like it's just such a bizarre and grotesque sight to see her do this. So just watch her. This is just insane to me. Look at this. This is just insane. It's so weird. It is so bizarre. Just letting everybody see her, right? Hold on. So she wants everyone to see her at one of the most vulnerable, personal moments in human life, right? You have birth of a child, death of a loved one. And she films herself in the casket. Okay. She's filming herself when she doesn't have to have the window down. She could literally just open the window, wave, say thank you, and roll the window back up. She's dangling his necklace out the window. And then she's doing all of this other performative stuff, which to me is just not a normal thing to do ever, ever. And Stacey Sheridan is in the car with her, not her mom, not her sister, not her aunt. No, Stacey Sheridan, the head of gifts and donations. It's so weird. Look at that. It's so performative. You can't tell me that is a normal thing to do. You'll never convince me that that's normal. I don't care. And that's what also blows my mind with all these people that defend her. How do they reconcile all of the very, very bizarre things that she has said and done, saying words like she's excited 5 days after the assassination, saying things like, my husband's dead, not to be morbid, 8 days after the assassination, talking about sales, talking about numbers. It's just not it's not a normal thing to do. And anyone telling you that it is, they're lying. So they can't be honest. Thank you, Ellie Daney, for the 2 gems. Thank you, Mackenzie, for the 67 gems. Thank you, Dances with Wolves. I loved that movie growing up. I loved Dances with Wolves growing up. Thank you for the 1,000 gems. And then we have a new member today, S. Hurtlocker. Thank you for becoming a member. Here we got 550 gems. Thank you. Here we got Amber LS Alert. New to your channel and enjoy it. You have a welcoming community and are a true gentleman. Thanks for your contributions to our search for truth. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Stay Fire, 10 gems. Thank you so much. What do we got here? We have Chantel Hayes. Hi, Matt. I just want to tell you how much I love this show. You're all amazing, and the work you have done is amazing. Keep going, Max. Christ is King. Thank you so much, Chantel. I really appreciate that. That really does mean a lot to me. Brian Carter, I think it's time we start being Charlie's legacy and fighting for the things he would fight for. Beginning with this Section 219 NDAA that Bibi wrote. Yeah, I agree. I will tell you guys this. I don't want to show all my hands or all my cards and my hand, but maybe during a member live, I can tell you guys something I'm working on that is going to do that very thing. It's going to give us something to get behind, that we lost when Charlie was murdered and that we thought we might get from his widow. We thought we might get a continuance of Turning Point USA, of Charlie Kirk and his legacy. And I think that's one of the reasons why they gave us Erika, was because, like, imagine it took a lot of us a lot longer than others, but to go, what? Dude, what is she doing? Like, this is not normal, you know? It's just a natural Christian assumption, you know? That's his wife. It's his happily married wife, mother of his children. She is going to carry on his legacy better than anyone. I don't think she should have ever been CEO. She could have started like a nonprofit in Charlie's legacy. She could have been like on a board member or something. They could have had her, you know, come in and contribute to, you know, the plans and the future of TPUSA. She has the journals that he wrote out the plans all the way to 2030. So, I mean, they could have still involved her and not made her CEO, because I don't think being married to Charlie Kirk made her qualified to be CEO. All right. I think before we began to suspect that she's evil, that she didn't really love Charlie, it would have been a natural belief that she loved Charlie and that she would want, you know, to do the right thing by him. But it was only a matter of time till we found out that wasn't true. And yeah, I think it was very deliberate to get our brains to shut down by toting her out in front of us, like, right away. All of these videos of her crying with the cross, all of the different media appearances, the casket scene, the memorial scene, then the appearances on his show, announcing her as CEO, was all an attempt to get us to accept her as CEO and as the rightful heir of Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk's legacy. I don't know that they thought it through. I don't know that anyone that made that decision had spent enough time with Erika one-on-one or in public to see how she was received by people that didn't know her, right? People that were going to be unbiased when they watch her and listen to her speak in the context of her husband being dead and murdered and 2 young kids at home where she should be. How are we going to receive Erika Kirk? I don't know that they saw that she just was not going to be well received. It's hard for me to believe that they saw that and they did it anyway. I mean, maybe, right? These people are so evil and corrupt. They're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? Yeah, she's evil. What? Do something. Yeah, she might have had something to do with it. Maybe. I don't know. Do something. What are you going to do? That's what it seems like it could have been too, you know? Let me get through a couple more of these. A couple more just popped in. We have Punished with Truth. Thank you for the 350 gems. Here we have XR Marty. Man, your female fan club keeps growing. I'm starting to get jealous. Thank you. Julie Cooksey became a member today. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate you. Welcome to the team. Jesse Voiles, thank you for the 2 gems. I appreciate that. Rachel H. Basham, 350 gems. Thank you so much. And then we have Vasiliki. What up? I tagged your account under your post July 21st of the cross under the t-shirt. All right. Oh, on X. You want me to pull it up? Is that kind of what you mean? Let me pull it up. Boom, 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 boom. Hold on. Oh, I hate it when other things pop up. You guys, there's some really exciting things coming our way. You tagged me? Where? Let me hit refresh. Where did you tag me? You tagged me in a post? Like right now you did? I don't know. On the 21st, what did your thing say again? Let me see. What did it say? I tagged your account under your post July 21st of the cross under the t-shirt. On X, Vasiliki on X. I'm trying to pull it up on July 21st. Let's see. Let me go back. July 21st. Oh, wait. You tagged me in my post. All right. Let's see. July 19th, 20th. My post. Okay. Well, which one? There's a couple posts. Oh, is that maybe that's just this one? Let's see. You tagged me. Daisy? That message wasn't from Andrew. The screenshots that got circulated came from Andrew. Daisy, did you not hear him say it? He said that was him. All right. Hold on. That's interesting. All right. Let's see. Vasiliki, I'm under this post. On the 21st. Is your name on X, Vasiliki? All right. You'll have to, if you could just send it to me actually, like in an email, if that would be easier. So, all right, let me get back to what we're doing. All right. I got through all those. All right. Let me. Oh.
They actually came out and told the truth, because I was going to go like max on that. And I actually pulled back on dropping even more text messages when Blake Neff admitted and Ben admitted that they were not friends. But Andrew Colvett attempted to tell that lie to the public, and that should terrify you about the people that were surrounding Charlie Kirk. To be so willing to so quickly pervert a dead man's beliefs.
100%.
Erika then goes on a Shabbat Shalom book tour immediately, first thing.
All right. That was everything I wanted to play there. Yeah, everything that Erika has done since September 10th is insane. It's insane. And for anyone that is not even just the slight bit skeptical of her is just, I mean, I don't know. You just aren't an honest person, in my opinion. Then you're just not an honest person. Vasiliki, you said yes, but can you just email it to me, the post, and then I can just click on it or give it to Mystic or something? I can't just spend, I was trying to scroll through. I couldn't find it. So, but I want to pull it up. I just want to get to it. All right, here, let's listen to Andrew Colvett himself, the Weasel himself. All right.
Code Charlie. All right, Scott. So you have your Substack is pretty widely read. I know this because every time you publish an article, it ends up getting sent to me.
Hold on, this wasn't the one. I have two of them pulled up. This wasn't the one I wanted to pull up. My bad. Where are you, Andrew? And there it is. Sorry, guys. Out of order.
Explosives expert.
All right, so this one is going to be in response to Rob O'Neill, who is the Navy SEAL who shot bin Laden and had come out a few months ago and said what he said about not believing that he was shot with a bullet, that Charlie was shot with a bullet, and that it looks like something exploded on his shirt. Well, they couldn't just sit by and shut up, so they have to bring this other guy on. This is the same guy that's been attacking John Bray and the exploding mic theory. So what is it that they're so concerned about, you guys? Think about that. This is a former like Green Beret or Delta guy that they're about to have on. He's made his like one of his main jobs over the last few months attacking John Bray, trying to call him a liar, saying he doesn't know his stuff. That has to do with the exploding mic. They cannot allow the exploding mic theory to just do its thing. Okay. And now we have Rob O'Neill saying it's not a bullet. It looks like something exploded under his shirt. Okay. Those two things are connected. And this guy is the same guy doing both things. All right.
His name is Matt Tardio. He is also the host of Speak the Truth podcast.
His name is Matt. Dude, don't ruin that name. That's the only one I got.
So he goes into a lot of the detail we're about to go into now on his show. So please check it out. Matt, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
I bet.
Thanks for having me.
So just as a starting point here, and then we're going to get into the meat of this, we're going to be talking about some of this evidence. And we're going to be talking about what Rob O'Neill has said publicly. He is a SEAL Team 6 that was involved in the shooting of Osama bin Laden. So, you know, we have a lot of respect for his service to our country. We're not attacking that.
But
he's basically raising issues or questions he has.
But he's wrong. He's just wrong
about Charlie's assassination. As a starting point, establish your background, your CV. Why should we listen to you as an expert on these things?
So I did, I spent about 16 years in the military before I was medically retired. Started off my career in the infantry, was Ranger qualified, was a sniper section leader in the infantry, and then went to Special Forces selection and became a United States Army Green Beret. Got SF sniper qualified while I was there. Have roughly 4 years of combat in total underneath my belt, missions against Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda in Iraq, things like that. Seeing places like East Africa, Middle East, and Ukraine before people even knew where it existed.
So you've got a pretty impressive resume there, and you understand ballistics, you understand explosives. So I'm going to play this clip. There's actually two clips because he's done it twice. It's gone on Newsmax, and he said the following, SOT 14.
It's not like I'm out there saying big lie or a conspiracy or someone did it. I'm just saying this thing looked shady off the bat. I mean, I've killed people closer than I saw the camera, and I've never seen a shirt move like that. That looks like an explosion to me. I'm a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I'm asking a lot of questions. No one wants to answer them.
Okay, so that was a couple months ago. The clip gets dredged up on social media as if it was breaking news, but it was actually a couple months old. So he got asked about it again on Newsmax. This was just yesterday, SOT 15.
I don't think Charlie Kirk got shot the way they're saying. That's all. As a sniper with a bunch of kills up close and Jack having, I don't do the research on this either, but Jack has 0. So let me be the man in the room for a second. It looked off. It seems like a cover up. That's it. I'm not saying who did it. If their guy did it, as a sniper, someone with kills, I saw that happen. Wow, that looked off. I don't like rewatching it. I knew Charlie Kirk. Yeah. This isn't fun for me, but I'm not going to just see something and have a bunch of people with no experience really killing people tell me that I'm wrong. I'm not wrong.
Matt, is he wrong?
Yep, he's wrong. Yeah, and I understand where he's coming from when I first saw it as well.
Isn't that funny though? So like literally it's just trust me, bro. It's like he's just gonna get up there and say it's an argument from authority, and he's just trying to say like his authority, his experience, his expertise is so much more than Rob O'Neill that you should just Retardio, because Matt Retardio knows. Well, I would say like you are who you associate with. Okay. And you're just a mouthpiece for Andrew Colvett and TPUSA. So I would say that disqualifies you from being an honest person. Okay. It just kind of does. It just does, Tardio. And he's just like, no, don't trust him. Trust me. No, I'm better. All right, Tard. Let's see.
Well, I had originally thought the shot ended up coming from behind. And then I immediately ended up withdrawing my statement within a couple hours based on it.
Was that because you also got a contract for something like Paramount Tactical did? Because he had one theory. He had a couple theories, but he was very, very positive that he couldn't have been a 30-06. And then something happened. And then now he's been shilling for TPUSA ever since. Is that what happened? You came out, you said something, got a phone call, checked your account, saw somebody wired you some money, told you got hired without knowing it. This is your new job. You better do it or else Israel's going to come and get you.
everything that's coming out. I having experience in shooting people, that's not an excuse for saying that I haven't seen anybody's shirt come up like that. Most of the time, that's not exactly what you're paying attention to when you're in the middle of business. But yes, he is dead wrong in all of the statements that he's making.
Okay, can you do the thing that Frank wants us to do all the time, and that he says you guys are doing all the time, but the prosecution's not doing it? Can you show us evidence, or is this just like my word versus his word? You know, can you present something, please?
It's that, it looks off, but once you understand terminal ballistics, you start to understand what actually ended up happening after that. And, going through military sniper courses, you get a lot on internal and external ballistics. What the projectile is doing inside of the rifle once it leaves the rifle.
You're an idiot. I can't listen to you. Literally, just go watch, ladies and gentlemen, all of the ballistic tests of the 30-06 over the last 10 months and watch that bullet go through everything. What are those, those like griddle, like the old school, like cast iron pans that you like take at a cookout when you go camping, right? A dude shot through like 4 of those. It went through like freaking 4 and lodged into the 5th. Dude shot through a whole pig, a fresh pig, through the whole thing. Dude shot through like a pork shoulder and a cow shoulder, through the bone, taped together, went through it all. And we're supposed to believe this little piece of fat and meat and tendon and that little bit of bone in the back just stopped like 2,000 something pounds of force. It's just freaking stupid. And when you understand terminal ballistics, buddy, a bullet isn't going to cause all of this vortex to make a shirt literally like jump up, right? And if the wound hasn't happened yet, no cavitation can happen. The necklace can't break. The necklace can't be the first thing to fly over the head. That's the first thing that moves, is the necklace. The necklace, which moves the shirt. Okay. Shirt comes up, necklace flies over the head, shirt comes down, then the wound appears. The order of operations is all bass-ackwards, man. And I don't know why they never deal with those issues. Well, I do know, because they can't. So they just gloss over them and they say a bunch of words and a bunch of trust me bro statements. Okay, cool. Got it. All right. I don't remember. What was this guy saying? I don't think this guy said anything meaningful. All right, let's go to here. I found Turd Turkey. He did a Newsmax.
On a marriage, financial stress, illness, children, even politics. But few would expect conspiracy theories to be one of them. And for one couple, that's exactly what's happening. After the murder of Charlie Kirk, a number of conspiracy theories devoid of fact spread quickly. Not simple questions about what happened or gaps that would likely be filled at trial. Some claimed his death was a coordinated assassination by his wife and close friends at Turning Point USA, while others blamed.
Okay, that's the other thing. None of us said that she coordinated the whole thing. I haven't said that. I haven't heard Erika Candace say that. I haven't heard Barron say that. All I've heard is it seems like they're all involved somehow, some way, shape, or form. Maybe before a little bit with some of them, during and after for sure. Okay, that's about as much as we know. We don't know a whole lot. Just Jessica, what's up? I haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. Charlie had to go because he would have been screaming treason. Today, after vote outcome on military integration. I mean, he would have been screaming here. Let's go here. He would have been screaming, treason when they told us that we successfully bombed their nuclear sites and they were done. And we went back to war with Iran. He would have been screaming treason when Venezuela happened. No release of the Jeffy Epi files happened, you know? All of it. All the things. You know, no investigation into Butler was bothering him. You know, taking us back into war with Iran for real. And this, of course, this as well. I agree. We're looking for experienced experts, not book smart experts on this. Thanks anyways, TPUSA, laugh out loud. Yeah, exactly. I want somebody in the field, you know. I don't want Matthew Retardio to come up and tell me what to believe. Let's continue. Sorry, got distracted.
Israel. So, one troubled man arguing with his wife over who really killed Kirk sought help from a fellow man of faith and former mentor to Kirk, Frank Turek. Turek himself has been accused of being involved in Kirk's death simply because he was by his side at the Utah Valley University event when he was killed. Now he's helping others who feel the weight of the world crashing down around them by leading with patience, wisdom, and of course, faith. Joining now is cross-examined radio host Frank Turek. Frank, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Just first, how are you? I mean, we had the preliminary hearing just a couple of weeks ago. You've been through so much over the course of the past 10 months. Just how are you doing as a human being, not to mention someone who was there next to Charlie that day?
That's what this lady did the other day. Do you remember this lady? That's what this lady did. Frank, how are you? How are you holding up, big guy? How are you holding up? You doing all right? You hanging in there? Can I get you anything? Does your wife need anything? Let's see. We got another one that popped in. Hello, Matt. Hello, Moto. Hello, Matt. Just a few quid. Just a few quid to help keep the lights on. Laugh out loud. Thanks. Oh, quid. Well, it's okay. Quid. Is that lira? The L. Is that euro? Quid. Got to help me. Are you from England, Amanda? Are you from the UK? You know what I found out? The United Kingdom, I just found out, is all of the countries in the Isles over there, correct? It's not just England. The United Kingdom is, you know, like Scotland, Ireland, England, and I don't know, is Wales a separate country too? I think, right? Did I get that right? Okay, it was euro. Okay. Quid is euro. Okay, got it. All right, let me continue. The heavy pan is 5 millimeters, so 4 times thicker than Charlie's neck. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Wales. I'm getting sidetracked reading your guys' comments. I got to say.
Well, I've had a lot of people praying, but I'm more concerned about Erika. You know that, Katie, those 5 days in Utah, I was out there for a couple of those days.
You do.
Was literal hell for Erika. You know, she had to leave the room several times because of the graphic nature of the testimony. I mean, she's holding up well, but it's so difficult. And not only that, there's so much nonsense floating around. As you just said, these conspiracy theories are devoid of fact. Did you notice that the defense didn't bring up anything about Egyptian planes, or they're not denying Tyler Robinson was there? They're not saying he was a patsy. His parents, if he wasn't involved in this, never would have turned him in. He wouldn't have turned himself in. He's confessed 3 different ways. And yet there are people out there saying that this was a complete conspiracy theory. It makes no sense at all.
So, Frank, as someone who's been the target of this, not just watching the attacks on Erika, which have been absolutely disgusting and evil, but you've also been a target of these attacks. How do you work through?
You love it when they have to add that in. The attacks that have Erika have been absolutely disgusting and evil and demonic. No, I don't feel the same way as you there, Miss Lady Newsmax, Lady Nation person. I think when she did everything that she's done since 9/10, she is asking for it. Not legitimate attacks. Like no one should be like calling or texting or harassing or threatening or doing anything like that. I meant like us questioning her, like what Candace and I and others have been doing, just questioning all the nonsense and the lies. Like, yeah, you asked for it when you got up there and you've been lying since day one. You know, you asked for it, my lady.
This, because as someone who's watching this happening, I'm appalled, obviously. But you watching your responses, you lead with grace and forgiveness, while also being able to say this is unacceptable and needs to stop. I mean, what is your advice to those who are watching this in horror at what's happening to keep the faith that this is going to work out the way that it should?
Stop it.
Right. Well, I think understanding what's going on is important. Candace claims to be a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
She should know that Jesus and the apostles called Satan a murderer, liar, accuser, and slanderer who seeks to steal, kill, and destroy.
And you know, since 9/10, we had a murder. And after that, we've had nothing but lies, accusations, and slanders seeking to kill, steal, and destroy. And people don't believe in the demonic? Let's see.
Notice on 9/10, Katie, we had a murder. What have we had pretty much since then? Lies, accusations, and slander seeking to steal, kill, and destroy. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm not surprised by it. I know what's going on here. These are demonic attacks, whether Candace knows it or not. And I have nothing personally against Candace. I actually pray for Candace. I think she's a marvelous talent. If she could direct her talents toward facts rather than speculation, she could do a lot of good, but she's tearing people up. As you said, I had somebody contact me who's...
He references that stupid email he wrote himself. Oh, Frank, you couldn't get your 15 minutes of fame on your own. You had to create a second version of you online, writing you an email. I mean, you guys, if you want to know for sure if Frank is part of the intel agencies and the PSYOP, that clip right there, he has said that verbatim every single time. That is not normal. That's a script. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Say it, say it, say it over and over and over and over again. Drill it in, drill it in, drill it in. That is one of the major hallmarks of a PSYOP. Okay? They just want to never let you forget it. Because with a lot of people, it gets embedded in the subconscious, okay? And then people start to believe it as fact. They've heard it a million times. So there's that. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. Let's see.
Marriage is being destroyed over this. And I told this gentleman, you ought to ask your wife this question. Honey, if God forbid somebody murdered me, would you want Candace to treat you like she's treating Erika?
Frank, what does the Bible say about respect and treatment of widows?
It's all over the Bible, as you know, Katie. We're supposed to take care of the fatherless and take care of widows. It's in the Old Testament.
And the Bible is very clear. It's going to come and hunt you down and kill you.
It's in the New Testament. And it's not just biblical. It's just common sense. If you're going to accuse a widow of a murder, you better have some really good evidence. And there's no evidence. Mm-hmm. It's to the contrary. Erika's world has been destroyed by this act. And people, if you're going to say that Erika had something to do with this, I question not only your sanity, but also your grace. You don't have any grace. You are coming after somebody who deserves none of this. Somebody who's had the worst event you could possibly imagine and now has 2 kids that she's bringing up alone. I mean, this is a complete disaster from a human perspective. And since Erika is a Christian, she knows that there's going to be a future, that her separation from Charlie is temporary. Her reunion with him will be for eternity.
Frank, as you mentioned, the deception has, it's dividing Americans, it's dividing marriages. What is your advice to?
This was the talking point they got for this week, you guys. Everyone's got to take on that Candace Owens is destroying marriages. They've said it on every platform, on every show. Candace Owens is destroying marriages. They literally get their talking points from on high, whether that be Pete Hegseth or Graham Allen or Gary Paramount, Not So Tactical, or whoever it is. Maybe straight from Erika Kirk. right? Because one of the things, you know what? I just saw the correlation. One of the things, obviously, that's really important to Christians is marriage. But what was one of the main things that Charlie wanted to do? He wanted young people to get married, have kids, and stay together for a long time. He believed, and I do, as many of us do, that is like the nuclear Christian family is the most important thing to hold a nation together. And now, if they can attach Candace to being someone that is single-handedly destroying that, that's destroying Charlie's legacy. That's destroying, God's legacy too, right? That's another thing that he's established here on earth, besides his church, is our covenant with one another under God. So I think that's deliberate, all the talking points they got for this week. And they're all spouting them out simultaneously. No coincidence there.
The man who wrote you that letter saying, how can I get to a point where this is not invading one of the most sacred things that we have, which is our relationship with our husband or our wife?
I actually gave him 37 questions to ask Katie. I don't know if any of them will work, but I did a whole podcast on it. The I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist podcast, so people can see it there.
I think you wrote that many because it was to yourself, my man.
Also, a lot of prayer would help, but simply asking questions like I just asked. And another question to ask is, are you following personalities or are you following evidence? Because in order to...
Erika's a personality. She doesn't have evidence. What are you talking about?
Achieve justice, you need evidence, not speculation. We do not convict people on speculation. We need evidence. And we haven't seen any evidence other than the evidence pointing to Tyler Robinson.
No, it does not point to Tyler Robinson. You're such a tool. All right, let's see. Oh, yes. Let's go here. We got to hear from Jeremy freaking Boring. Is it pulled up on the screen? All right.
But I also, again, I'm an 80s and 90s kid. That's when I grew up. And I remember we watched Christian movies because they were Christian, not because they were good.
Yeah. Right.
And that's problematic. In part because as a Christian, I believe that if you're going to do anything, you do it as unto the Lord.
Amen.
So that if you're going to say this is a Christian film, well, it better be good. And I do think we need more of that.
Can I ask you for a definition of Christian film? Does it mean, you mean Christian, right? Like abuses widows, accuses innocent people of murder.
Murders your best friend and sleeps with his wife. And
yeah.
I mean, David and Bathsheba, right?
Oh, no. I'm only talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yeah.
I'm only talking about Candace Owens as a Christian, the way that she accuses innocent people of murder and lambasts widows and makes life hell for orphans.
Well, I mean a Christian film in the sense that Christian.
So that was just him making fun of Candace and not doing a good job of it, and he's not funny at all. When this came out, when I was, hopefully the timestamp is accurate. Let's see, 47, right? I don't know. Is it going to be accurate? Let's see, right here.
Apply healthy skepticism, not inversion.
It's like the friend-enemy distinction happening there. So you're like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so they're weaponizing the anger and the resentment.
So. We've always had these cultural guardrails against the worst ideas. That's all you can really have in a free society is cultural guardrails. But the problem is if you punish people for sins that they didn't commit, then you remove any incentive for them not to commit them.
Yeah.
I've had to counsel many a wife over the years, not my own. I've only had one.
What's that?
But as a lay pastor who has counseled many couples over the years.
Wait, what?
I've had to warn many wives, if you treat your husband like a cheat, then the only thing he's not getting is laid. Like you've taken away almost.
That sounds like a pastor to me. So I had to Google it. He said he was a layperson. He says he was a pastor. He also didn't say that he counseled couples and that in that couple's marriage counseling was a wife. You should not be counseling a female by herself as a pastor, personally, in my opinion. Like counseling, not just like shepherding in church and stuff, but like in a room, like counseling, especially if you're married and you're not a therapist, you're a pastor. And he's like, I had to counsel many a wife, not my own. I've only had one. But I was like, what? He was a pastor? And it says, yes, Jeremy Boring, the co-founder and former CEO of the Daily Wire, previously served as a pastor prior to his career in conservative media and entertainment. He established a home church in Los Angeles. His background and work in media can be explored through PragerU presenter profile. Hold on. Let's see. Tell me more. Tell me more. He is an evangelical Christian, but his professional career is strictly in media. He's a filmmaker, producer, and the co-founder of the former CEO of conservative media company, The Daily Wire. Right, but education, he graduated with a Master's of Divinity from the Master's Seminary and Evangelical Seminary in California. Interesting. Early ministry while courting and early in his marriage to Ginger Duggar. Wait, is she like a real Duggar? Is that for real? Is his wife a Duggar? No way. What? Hold on, I gotta look this up. Why does that not look like Jeremy though? That doesn't look like Jeremy. I'm so confused. It doesn't look like her. Where's Jeremy Boring and his wife? Hold on. Let me go like this. Okay. Jeremy Boring's wife is Lindsay Boring. Oh, why did it say that? Why does that other one? Oh my gosh, that's not the right freaking. Ugh. Don't do this to me. Oh, no. All right. I don't know why that other one said that. That's weird. Don't trust AI all the time, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's interesting that he says was a pastor, though. I mean, all right. I guess we'll roll with it. I can't picture him being an actual pastor. I mean, I don't want to get. I know someone who was a pastor of a house church and or still is or was, and wholly unqualified. Not a great individual. Not the most Christian dude. I'll just say that. All right. We got 10 gems. Thank you. Oh, I didn't see your handle. We love Lucy Lou. Thank you. And we have Bush Intel 99. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Welcome to the team. Jeremy Boring's just evil, bro. He's just not
any reason for him not to cheat on you because he's paying the price anyway. He's getting all the downside. He's not getting any of the upside. And that's part of that's at play here too. If you call somebody a Nazi, they're paying the price in a free society. The stigma that you've now attached to them is the consequence.
Yeah.
Now there is no remaining consequence for them to consider the ideas of the Nazis, for example. And in fact, to your point, they're going to, as an act of rebellion against the false accusation, they might not only consider them, but be persuaded by them.
This is where you get Nick Fuentes and many characters of the like. This is exactly the model they've laid out for themselves. And now he's uncancelable. He can't work at Home Depot if he wanted to, but he's uncancelable because he's already assumed all of your worst instincts and critics.
All right, that's it. I didn't want to hear everything else that he had to say. Just the part where he was making fun of Candace Owens, because it just shows what kind of person he is. Oh, we got another new member. Who is this? Andrea Schultz became a member. Thank you for becoming a member, Andrea. I appreciate it. There was a part in this. We're not watching a lot. There was a part in this where we left off. So we're at the 45-minute mark. 45-minute mark. Frank Turk responds to CEO. 45. All right. So
yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
there's morbid details that I won't even say when I tried to blow into his mouth. I just.
Oh wait, let me back this up a bit. This is him.
Maybe he'll make it. I don't know. So
yeah,
that's what happened.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there's morbid details that I won't even say when I tried to blow into his mouth. I just.
yeah. Well,
So,
what I keep thinking about, you go ahead.
Yeah, Brian's not lying. Most of the ride was just stop the bleeding and let's just get there.
Yeah.
Right. It's only the last 20 or 30 seconds of the ride. I'm going, well, what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
Right. And look, I'm the only one in the car that's not on security. I'm the only, while I was in the Navy years ago, I haven't done CPR in anyone in a long time. I'm just like, I'm going to try. And I'm the only one in a position that could have done it because they're like they have Charlie's kind of body kind of resting on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm over the top.
Yeah.
So, and this is another detail. What does this have to do with a conspiracy?
Yeah.
Like
what you guys did in the car has everything to do with what happened to Charlie. Whether you guys can be honest about what took place in that SUV matters. If Brian Harple is he's packing the wound to stop the bleeding, that means he's looking at Charlie. Okay, it's a small SUV. Rick Cutler's looking at Charlie holding on supposedly to Brian Harple. They're going to notice you. Last 20 seconds, last 30 seconds, doesn't matter when it happened in the ride. They're going to notice you climb up from the back seat, start giving chest compressions, and then breathing into his mouth. They're going to notice that. Okay. What? He packed the wound and then he got on his phone? Is that when he called Ben? So he packed the wound and then he's like, okay, Rick, you just hold it there now. I got to call Ben. And so then Brian just turned and was looking out the window calling Ben. He's like, yeah, man. And job's done. Yep. It's all good. Thanks, boss. See you in Israel. Peace out. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. See you there. And then during that time when he's looking out the window, that's when Frank comes up behind and starts doing chest compressions and mouth to mouth. Give me a freaking break, bro. These people are so insane. Why does it matter? What does it have to do with the conspiracy? Bro, anything that is contrary to the FedSlop narrative is like what we want to know. We want to know what really happened. And so we heard from Brian, but then we remember, oh, wait, we heard from Frank first, and that's not what was said. And that's why Brian on the Sean Ryan show was asked by Sean Ryan, there's conflicting reports out there. He's saying, Frank's saying you guys did CPR. Did you do CPR? Brian's like, not at all. You don't do CPR. That's not the kind of medicine that you do, combat medicine or whatever he called it. You don't do that. You just focus on stopping the bleeding. So if Frank was going to try to do CPR and chest compressions, and that's completely contrary to what they're taught as the security team, Brian's not even going to let him do CPR. He's not even going to let him touch him to do CPR mouth to mouth. He's going to smack him upside the head and tell him to get back in the back seat and start praying again, dude. Carmen Sandiego, dun, dun, dun. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? You guys remember that show? I remember that show. Thank you for becoming a member. Do I get extra brownie points because I know that? I'm from Oceanside. I love San Diego. San Diego. Saint Diego. What movie is that? Did you catch what he said about morbid details? Yep. As he tried to perform his most saddest moment where he's like, see, this is where they think I'm thinking about giving mouth to mouth. So I have to look like I'm thinking about, picturing about that moment. And I just said it's morbid. So I got to have that face. And he's like, and I won't go into just the morbid details. I can't even do it. I'm not a good actor. I'm not good at it. I can't even try. Let me see. What does his face look like? Hold on. Let me get into character. He goes, Yeah. No, I'm going to laugh. I'll break character every 5 seconds. Holy smokes. And he goes, yeah. Yeah. I gave mouth to mouth. What was I supposed to do? It was the last 20, 30 seconds. I mean, I had to try. But I'm not even going to go into the morbid details. Yeah. It made really weird sounds doing that. No? Was that good? I'm not good. I'm not an actor, okay? That's how you know you're just getting me being me. I couldn't act if I wanted to. All right. Jewel Diamond Rock. When he tries to blow into his mouth, eek. That's a socially awkward statement I'd expect a low IQ person to say, or an over-explanatory statement to make him sound believable, or to a statement to make him sound believable. Yeah. I said that wrong, didn't I? I didn't read that right. IQ person to say, or an over-explanatory statement to make him sound believable. There we go. I put the pause in the wrong place. Dang it. I put the pause in the wrong place. What do we got here? Super Saddy just became a member. Thank you for becoming a member, Super Saddy. Appreciate you. All right, let's get back to it, okay? I don't know why I keep doing that. It's because it's a new screen. It's a new screen, guys. All right. I got to get to the 46. 4620 is what we're getting to. All right. 46. All right, we're almost there.
Why would anybody lie about CPR or no CPR?
There's reason.
And then there's another thing about shards of glass. People are saying there are shards of glass. I don't remember any shards of glass in that car.
Like this?
I don't.
Ooh.
Maybe there was, but I and this is by the way, a nature of eyewitness testimony. You focus in on different things. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, actually, that's where I was going to go next, because every description that you're giving on all three of these points points to authentic eyewitness testimony.
No, it doesn't.
When you think about the characteristics of real eyewitness testimony, you're going to have agreement about the central event that happened.
No.
The main event is going to have unanimous agreement. But to know that it's authentic, there has to be some difference.
I'm not trying to mess with you. My brother-in-law made all these presets, and I'm seeing which one is the best. Is that too small of a little screen for them? And am I too small there? I mean, this one seems best. Okay, we'll keep it there.
Is in the periphery details, because people are looking at different things. They're focused on different things. There's going to be testimony coming from different perspectives. We see this in the four Gospels. And there's going to be the effects of the traumatic.
The four Gospels are written by four different authors at different times, at different places, getting different eyewitness accounts, statements, and putting it together. Oh, my goodness, lady. These are five people in the same car for 10 minutes in one of the most graphic and traumatic moments of their life, and they can't get it right on whether or not CPR was delivered. That's a big discrepancy. That's not a little one. That's a big one.
The stressors that are on you, that, shock, all sorts of different things that are going to be involved. But as our friend J. Warner Wallace pointed out in his book, Cold Case Christianity, of course, Jim's was a detective in Los Angeles
they got to plug someone's book
for many years and solved many cold cases. And one of the points he brought out in his book that always stayed with me, a couple of things. The first one was that he had this one crime that happened where he got to the crime scene and it had been raining. And because it was raining, they had put all four of the witnesses, or however many there were, all together in the back of a police car. And he knew instantly, well, their testimony's no good, because now they've had time to kind of collaborate, get together, figure out, they're going to be filling in gaps, and they're all going to be telling now the same story. Whereas for him to really get to the truth, he needs their different perspectives. And then he gave this other example of a robbery that had happened in, I think it was a convenience store. And there were two witnesses. And there was a female witness and a male witness. And the female witness kept noticing the clothes of the perpetrator, and she had no idea what kind of gun he had, whereas the man knew exactly the kind of gun, the caliber, everything, but kind of, I think he said, the wrong color shirt that the guy was wearing. Well,
do you realize this is the worst comparison? That would be like asking the guys in the car different statements about some of the aesthetics about the inside of the car. Yes, they're all going to notice different things about the aesthetics. Why couldn't she have given the example that the husband was asked about components of the crime? Did he point the gun at you? What did he say to you? What did you do back? What did your husband do back? Like the actions, the choices, the behavior. She's talking about things that people noticed in their brain. That's not the same thing that we're talking about. Frank is saying something different happened in the car. Brian is saying something completely different happened in the car. That's not the same comparison, Alyssa. Holy smokes.
Turns out the woman was very into fashion. That's what she was focused on. And the man was into guns. I mean, it makes sense that even he got a detail wrong about the clothes because that's not what he was focused on. And that actually helps police officers get to the authentic event that happened. And if both of
what they're wearing, not what the person did and what they did in response, what they're wearing.
of those people were telling verbatim, word for word, the exact same testimony, then you would know they colluded. You would know that they had gotten their stories straight, and then you'd be more suspicious of the overall narrative that they were giving. But maybe can you add to that when we talk about authentic eyewitness testimony?
Oh, please add to it.
Yeah, I would say it's quite obvious that Brian and I have not tried to get our stories to align.
Right.
Right. In fact, Brian right now is in a lawsuit against Candace Owens.
Yeah.
I assume it's because he's lost income and his character has been besmirched by her. So he couldn't even comment on this right now if he wanted to.
But that's why you're out here, right? That's why you're out here and a couple other people are out here doing it for you. Let's ask everyone. Do you guys want to do a poll? Let's see. Let's do a poll real quick. Hold on, I'm typing it up. Hold on, give me a second. This is the only bummer about doing it in the middle of the show. I got to go fast. Eventually, in a couple of days, I'm gonna have a keyboard right here. I'm not gonna have to do this anymore. Was killed on his watch, and all right. Why has Brian Harpole lost business? Because Charlie Kirk was killed on his watch, or because Candace Owens is asking questions? Let's see. What do you guys think? You guys, this should be at 100. Like, the dude's number one job of his company is to keep his client alive. His client was murdered, and he was there. And it's after Butler, and they didn't even have anyone on the roofs. So, I mean, it's kind of just a no-brainer. If we don't have 100 on this consensus, somebody actually is in here. Who's in here voting that Candace is asking questions? You guys, we have some snakes in the grass. Who are you? You little mole? Where are you, little mole? Gary, are you hiding in there? Where are you, Gary? 4% says because Candace is asking questions is the reason why Brian Harpole has lost business. Get out of here. You guys, who's in here? Who the frick is in here? 5% because Candace is asking questions. I don't even know what to say right now. What the frick, dude? Me, Kristen, you believe because Candace is asking questions? You think that's why Brian Harpole lost his business deals? Not because Charlie Kirk was killed? For real? 250 gems. Thank you. Who was that? Tony Johnson. Blake Bednars. VC, your buddy Frank's in here. Let's see. Butt vote. Guaranteed it's Blake Neff. It's Unreal Scarlet Letter Gary. Blake Neff is in the chat. Let's see. 5%. Please stand up. Blake the Snake. To be fair, many people wouldn't know if Candace didn't ask questions. That's not true. Wait, what do you mean? We wouldn't have known that Charlie died at UVU and that Brian Harple was standing right there and that friggin' Dan Flood was standing right there. I mean, we would have known. I mean, what part would we have not have known, Renita? You could air it out. Tell me. 6%. Come on. Oh, heck no. Why'd you say me? Kristen, why'd you say me? She says, heck no. Okay. All right. Why'd you say me? You got me scared, Kristen. I was like, you're a regular. What are you doing? No. Snakes everywhere. It's Blake Neff. Jeremy Boring wearing that broken key around his neck is a slap in the face to the Palestinians who have kept the keys to their stolen land homes for when they return and to see an Israeli supporter. Oh, friend of the show, confused? Laugh out loud. Let's see. Wait, well, I did read your thing. I saw that you said the morbid detail about him breathing in, right? You said morbid detail regarding giving him mouth to mouth. But discussing my post regarding my morbid detail comment to see if he will consider that being connected with something traveling. What do you mean? What do you mean something traveling? Maybe hit the wrong button. Haha, butt votes. Yes, that's the only thing that could explain it. Let's see. Is a quid is Great Britain. I said that. I said a quid is Great Britain. I said that. Okay. I didn't say it was a euro. Okay. I said a quid. A quid. I've heard it. I've heard it said. But hey, Muddy Lover, you don't got to be nice. I mean, you ain't got to be mean. You don't got to be calling us all idiots around here. The pound. Not the stupid euro. Ever watch old BBC? No, probably people. No, probably not. Charlie and out his neck. Oh, when they're giving mouth to mouth. He failed at his job. Who would hire him after that? Yeah, I agree. Oh my gosh, I'm too far behind now if I keep reading that. Quid is British version of a buck. There you go. Yeah. All right, let me see. We're at 92% believe it's because Charlie was murdered on his watch. 7% sadly believe it's because Candace has asked questions. So thanks. So don't put me on timeout. Okay, well, don't call anybody stupid, maybe, you know? Maybe don't call people stupid. All right. Yeah, let's be nice, everybody. Everybody being nice. Let's go back to moron and moronette.
But we may have exchanged one text or two ever since this has happened. Like when he was on Sean Ryan.
So you are communicating with Dan Flood after the assassination. I mean, with Brian Harple. So you and Brian Harple have communicated at least once or twice since the assassination. Thanks for telling us, dude. I appreciate you.
Ryan, I said, hey, good job there. You know, that kind of thing. But we haven't said, well, what did you see? No, we haven't done any of that.
Like you did.
We're just telling our story as we saw it. The facts as we saw them. And by the way, there's a famous situation that we brought up before that the eyewitnesses of the Titanic differed on how the Titanic sank, right? Now, why? Why did they differ? Well, first of all, they were in shock. Secondly, it was dark. Thirdly,
he's such an idiot. They differed on how it sank because a lot of people were at different parts of the freaking ship when it hit the iceberg. And then people were going through different very traumatic things, not all in one car. This massive ship. Some people got taken under. Some people lost consciousness. Some people were taught on that side. Some people stayed on the boat. It's not like inside this little SUV and you're all looking at Charlie because Charlie's dying right now, right there. The only people not looking at Charlie maybe is Justin driving and Dan Flood doing the directions. Go left, go right, 90, 100 miles an hour. But the three in the back seat, specifically Brian Harpole and Frank Turk, are the only two that have talked, and they gave a different account for what happened in that backseat area. That's not the same thing, dude. It's just not the same thing. Oh, my goodness. They're just so bad at this. They're just really bad at this.
On probably different aspects of the ship. They may, if you're on the beam of the ship, maybe you could see it break before it went down. If you're on the bow of the stern, you couldn't, right? There's different perspectives. But what do they all agree on? They all agree the Titanic sank. They agree on the big issue. The Titanic sank. They disagree on how it sank. We discovered later that it did break in two somehow because we've discovered the wreckage. But just because eyewitnesses don't agree on details doesn't mean that the whole story is false. And yet people seem to think that if you find any inconsistency, somehow the whole story is got to be false. They're lying about everything. That does not follow. And I have no motivation to lie about anything. There's no motivation at all. I saw my friend murdered.
Hold on. Someone just sent me the actual text, the comment. The only morbid detail I can think of is that when he blew into Charlie's mouth, blood came out of the wound in his neck, in Charlie's neck, which means his throat or esophagus was also damaged. I mean, that's obviously a possibility, but there's a lot of other morbid things that could have happened at the same time when blowing into his mouth. But here's the thing. I don't think he blew into Charlie's mouth at all. Brian Harpole was on the Sean Ryan show. They're both veterans. Oh, sorry. I mean, Brian Harpole was a cop, but he was trained in combat medicine for his security team. They know, right? Like, and a lot of people that also have experience are like, you're not going to do CPR. You got to stop the bleeding. You can't do CPR when he's not on a flat surface. There's like so many reasons why him giving CPR is not realistic. Also, I think somehow they had to account for blood on Frank. For whatever reason, Frank didn't touch Charlie at UVU. Frank climbed in the back seat, so he didn't touch Charlie coming into the car. He was in the trunk. He climbed over the last bucket seat and was in the back row. Charlie's in that middle seat behind the driver and the front passenger in these two captain chairs, and he's splayed across with his head on the left behind the driver and his feet on the right behind the passenger in the front seat. They tell stories that they were all covered in blood. Okay. And that it all looked so gross that when they got there, they felt bad for the hospital staff. Well, Rick Cutler has Charlie on his lap. Rick Cutler is holding on to Frank Turk's clothes. He's got the tattoo. That's how you know he did a good job. Brian Harpole has got his butt hanging out the door and puppy pieing the gauze into Charlie's neck for 10 minutes. And maybe Rick Cutler held it after Brian got 36 feet in Charlie's neck. That's a lot of gauze. Okay. Why would Frank need to tell any story of why he had blood on him? Aside from him saying that he got involved and did CPR and chest compressions, Brian Harpole's story went on the Sean Ryan show. No, Frank's in the back the whole time praying. That's what Frank is doing out loud. Frank even says that too. Until recently, he changed the story and it's like, oh, except for the last 20 seconds. Then I was giving CPR and, chest compressions and mouth to mouth. I think he's telling a story of doing something with Charlie's body, which would account for him having blood on him. Because I don't think there's any other reasonable explanation for him to have blood on him. Because I don't think he touched Charlie at all. I don't think Brian Harple and Rick Culler would have let him. There's another possibility that Charlie wasn't all the way gone yet. Other people have theorized that there might have been a struggle in the car. You know, I don't know. Also, I don't know if it's to speculate these things it's gross, but if he wasn't shot with a bullet and they supposedly retrieved a bullet in the autopsy, how did the bullet get in there? We know the wound was there. Did they shove the bullet in? And that's why he shoved 36 feet of gauze in there to get the bullet as far into Charlie's body as possible, or else he's going to have to just get it because the wound is about that big. He's only going to be about able to get it in as far as he can with his fingers. But if you put it on the gauze and then you just keep shoving gauze in, it's going to get it further into Charlie, which would be more plausible when they do the autopsy. And putting that much gauze inside of the wound is going to do stuff to the inside of the Charlie's neck and body that's going to make it look differently than it would have if they had just brought him straight to the hospital without packing 36 feet of gauze. It's going to move stuff around. It's going to change things in there. But yeah, I don't think Frank actually gave mouth to mouth or CPR. I don't think anyone in that car, Dan, Rick, Brian, would have let him, So that's my take on it. Let's see. There's a couple more things he says that I want to cover, and then we're moving on. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Here we go.
I'm just telling you what I saw and what happened.
Yeah.
It just happens to be different.
I mean, why make stuff? For what reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I shared in a recent podcast, I did a podcast maybe 3 or 4 episodes ago about conspiracy theories and how important it is to learn to think critically so that we are not deceived by things like this. And I confessed on that episode that many years ago when the Sandy Hook shooting happened, there were some details. I was very interested in that. Of course, I was heartbroken to hear what happened. And so I started watching a lot of news stories, and I was watching interviews with some of the families and all sorts of things. And there seemed to be details that were not lining up for me. I had a feeling in my gut that something wasn't right about this. And this was before I had learned to think critically. I realize now, all those years ago, I really did think with my feelings a lot. I thought,
okay, this is where she talks a lot. And let me get to at 50. It's like right here.
Is following all of this.
No.
And
that Tyler Robinson really killed Charlie Kirk. What evidence would you need to see?
Yeah.
And if there's no evidence that would convince you of that, then you're actually not seeking justice. You can't achieve justice without evidence. You need evidence.
Okay, there's no evidence against Tyler Robinson. I guess my question would be, what evidence would you need to see to believe that Tyler Robinson didn't do it? Because I would say the lack of evidence that's already existing right now is why we don't believe Tyler Robinson did it. I would need to see a clear video or photo of him on 9/10 on campus, not in the morning, not in the purple maroon shirt, not in the shorts. Okay. I would need to see him, a clear photo or video of him coming down the stairs, walking under the breezeway, walking up the Losi Center roof onto the roof in the black shirt, long sleeve shirt with the eagle and flag on it, the long pants. I would just need to see something. All of the video and photographic evidence is so inconclusive. And even the eyewitnesses that, saw the Charger the night of, is like, no, that's a white old middle-aged bald dude and 3 other occupants, not Tyler Robinson. Great. You know, I would need to not only have everything rest on Lance Twiggs's personal testimony about, you know, this letter that he found and then it burned and now we don't have it. This text message thread that, you know, supposedly Tyler sent to him, but that's not been, no metadata. It's not been verified. The Discord chats that look to be fake. Doesn't seem to even be in a writing of a young man that would write that way and speak that way. Hey, Orthodox is cool. You can't spam the chat like that. I'm going to kick you out, man. You can't just write I mean, I love Hail Mary full of grace. I love that. But that's a lot of, oh, man, you wrote so many. That's really not cool. I'm going to have to make you go bye. That's not cool. You can say it once or twice, but that was like 15 times. That's nuts. Yeah, I got rid of it. Yeah. I love prayer, but that's not the place to do it like that. So, yeah, I would just need to see any evidence that is just could I have one piece of evidence that is definitive, like just one piece of evidence? They're like, oh, he confessed to his mom. Can you present something that proves that? Because all we've heard is like other people say that. You know, the screwdriver, that's not even something you use to assemble or disassemble a 98 Mauser 30-06. Like, shut up. You don't see it in his pants. You don't see him take it out of his pants. You don't even know who that is on the roof. It's freaking Sasquatch. They're out here lying that this is a 4K high like all of the evidence is so bad. They've had to lie and misrepresent what it is. That's how you know it's not conclusive mountain avalanche of evidence that they swear it is. Evidence is good by itself. You don't need to make it out to be something it's not. The fact that they're making out to be something it's not should tell you something about the evidence. It's not there. He supposedly confessed to his mom. Why didn't the prosecution call the mom to testify? Why didn't they get her to write a statement or anything? They didn't even reference it. You know, all of the talking heads reference it as like, oh, they identified him from the footage. This footage that we were looking at, shut up. You don't know who that is. You can't tell who that is. They identified from the rifle. That black rifle, that's not even a 98, so it's a 1940 era, 98 Mauser, authentic, like hand-me-down. That's not what that is. What are you talking about? Whoever's on the roof, too, which isn't Tyler, jumps off, doesn't have a long rifle in his hand. He's got like a coat or a jacket. It's like flailing around. How come there's no police reports or police calls from all those cars that are driving around when Eagle Boy jumps off the roof? If he's got a rifle, even if it's under a jacket, it's a massive rifle. It's like 49 inches long. It's going to be sticking out. Parts of it are going to be sticking out. It's going to look weird. The dude's going to look weird, like carrying it. Like people are going to see, they're going to be like, there's a really freaking suspicious dude running around with something long, black underneath his jacket. Yeah, he's like running away from the campus. Everyone else is going towards the campus. He's running away. Might want to look into him. None of the physical evidence is what they say it is, you know? Parents didn't identify him from any of the footage that they released in the early hours of the investigation. Parents didn't see that rifle online and go, oh, that's Grandpappy's rifle. No. Tyler didn't pull off this assassination of our century or our lifetime, only to turn around, eat 3 square meals, and then he got the guilt and the shame. He drives back, not feeling guilty yet, still trying to figure out how to get the rifle. Eventually, though, in that time frame, he's like confessing to his lover. I thought I was going to take this to the grave, but not really. I'm just going to tell you everything right now in text, so it's all written down for us. I wrote you a note. It's under the keyboard. And then he takes a picture of it. Like, that's something a Fed does. Okay. Burns it, but doesn't burn it all the way, just enough that there's enough of it left that you can see it is a letter. There's a couple letters in writing on it, and it leaves the remnants so that you can see he burned the letter. You don't burn the letter and flush it down the toilet. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, I thought he was afraid, like he was, he wanted to unalive himself, but then he seemed to not want to die. He hasn't pled out. He hasn't pled guilty. He hasn't accepted a plea. He's there's so many things wrong with this. Lance Twiggs himself, his whole testimony, he couldn't even identify him from the footage. He's like, I can't say that for sure. I mean, but Tyler's got pants. That dude's wearing pants. Tyler's got a hat and glasses. Not those. I've never seen him wear those ones, but he does have hat and glasses. Same with that shirt. I've never seen him wear that shirt, but he does have shirts. The only thing I can definitively say, which is weird in and of itself, he's got those shoes. Okay, so does like 500 million other people that have ever bought Chuck Taylors. That's what's wrong with all of this, Like, what would it take for you to believe that he did it? Anything definitive. Can you give me one thing? The freaking ballistics expert testified that the diameter of the base of the bullet jacket fragment that they retrieved supposedly from Charlie isn't even within the range of a 30-06. It's 0.286 to 0.301. That's the one that they found. 30-06 is 0.308 up to 0.4 something. Doesn't even match it. They couldn't match the rifling on the bullet to that rifle. The rifle couldn't even be found by the bomb-sniffing dogs within hours of it supposedly being fired. BS. His DNA is one of 5 or 6 contributors on the rifle. They combined 2 different samples. They swabbed the trigger guard and they swabbed the trigger, and they put those together and sent those off so then they could say Tyler Robinson's DNA was found on the trigger. Could have been found on the trigger guard. It could have been found on the trigger too, because it was his rifle that he did go hunting with his family with. Tyler's DNA was the most degraded out of all of the DNA contributors on that rifle. Every piece of physical evidence, the screwdriver, the towel, and the rifle, all had Lance Twiggs' DNA on it. Lance Twiggs said that Tyler Robinson never spoke about Charlie ever. They never spoke about trans, gay, liberal, issues ever. The only political things that Tyler spoke about with Lance ever was like legislation that was being passed. That's it. Okay, but he supposedly was radicalized so much that he planned, orchestrated, and carried out this assassination in 1 week and never told you how pissed he was about this guy. He never saw a video of Charlie online talking about trans issues, and it just made Tyler so pissed that he just yelled out like, "Screw Charlie. I can't. Do you see this video? Can you believe what he's saying?" That never came up. But he was so pissed, he planned this and killed him. Okay, dude. Sure. Seaside, it's okay. They will all be held accountable, Christ is King. They will, whether it's by us or whether it's by God, for sure. Thank you, Crystal, for the 2 gems. Silva Star. Crystal Smolin is a OG member here, and she does a lot of good investigation on X. She releases a lot of it. Crystal's great. If you guys are on X, you should go follow her over on X. She's spicy too. She gets spicy over there because people are brutal on X. It's pretty sad, but also, I don't know. I'm not even going to go there right now. I'm not even going to go there right now. I am not even going to do that right now. I've learned my lesson. All right, let's hear what this moron has to say, and then we're done with him.
Evidence to figure out what really happened. There's been no evidence given. There's been a lot of possibilities.
Yep.
But possibilities are not evidence. It's possible that aliens killed Charlie. That's possible. It's possible we're in the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities, but possibilities are not evidence. This is why in the pretrial hearing, nobody brought up anything Candace has said, because there's no evidence for anything Candace has said that relates to this murder. And if Tyler Robinson did not have anything to do with this, why did his parents turn him in? Why did he turn himself in? Why is the judge keeping him locked up? Is everybody involved in this conspiracy? For what reason? Oh, and if Israel wanted to kill them, or Egypt, or whoever.
So he regurgitates things that aren't actual evidence. No evidence was presented that his parents turned him in for being guilty, or that Tyler confessed to his parents or turned himself in for being guilty. He surrendered because he realized that they were framing him for this, and he didn't want to be unalived out in public. Why, if he turned himself in for being guilty, then why, right when he got in there, he asked for a lawyer, didn't say anything, and didn't admit guilt? Why haven't they produced his admission of guilt? Because he never did. Why haven't they presented the parents saying that he admitted to them that he did it? Because he didn't. All right. The LDS former scout leader friend and the parents and Tyler worked together to surrender safely through. Oh, Beth. Oh, man, dude. Dude. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Okay. All right. I'm rolling with it. All right. All right. Yeah, none of it was presented as actual evidence during the prelim, and also the defense isn't there to present any sort of case during the prelim. Their narrative, their theories, their job during the prelim is to poke holes in the evidence being presented so that they can prove that the prosecution hasn't established probable cause. That was it. That is the purpose of the prelim. Frank knows that, dude. He's such a... Oh, dude. Let me read this right. Brian Carter. Imagine a jury hearing all this in closing arguments. They can't let it go to jury unless jury is bought and paid for, probably relocating potential jurors to the county, to that county already. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to get it. I agree. Julia Pierce, thank you for the Black Line Brief hearts. I remember. Do you guys remember that episode when I was like, what do the black hearts mean? And they were like, it's for you, silly. Oh, I hit it again. Jeffrey McDowell became a member. I thought you were a member, man. I remember because I was like, Buckeyes, Ohio. Well, thank you for becoming a member. All right. We're almost done with Frank. All right.
Do you think they would do it in front of 6,000 people where cameras are rolling?
There was 3.
I mean, if Mossad really wanted somebody dead, would they do it publicly?
Yes.
Or would they kill somebody privately in an accident?
I don't know. Frank, do you not know about the pagers? Frank, are you not aware of the Hamas pagers? That was very public. That was not like, there was not anything on them that they're like, oh yeah, that was an accident, a tragic, horrible accident. You freaking moron, dude. No, it had to have like multi-level purposes. Like, it was a message. It also was going to be used to galvanize the right against the left, you know? Oh my gosh. Silence all the potential other critics that were getting, you know, courage through watching Charlie call out Israel. Now everyone's going to think twice before they do that. That was their hope. Yes, this is exactly how they would do it, Frank. Your lack of imagination doesn't prove that this isn't how they would do it. It just proves you're stupid. Shaylee Moore, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the team, Shaylee. Appreciate you.
Where there would be no suspicion, right? Maybe his plane went down. Maybe his car got into an accident. Maybe he had a heart attack induced by some poison given him,
Or
right?
just out walking in front of his house.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Well, we went on several walks.
Yeah,
and
I
we
always had a 300-pound bodyguard behind us.
had a 300-pound bodyguard behind us for that
I hadn't made it this far. He says that every time. He says that every time.
very reason.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody wanted Charlie Kirk dead, they didn't have to do it, or some foreign government or some. They didn't have to do it in front of 6,000 people with cameras rolling.
3,000. Says Frank, because that's what Frank would do, right? Because Frank said so.
It takes a lot more faith to believe what any of these conspiracy theories are saying than just to look at the evidence as given. I mean, his DNA is all over the place.
So
he's got confessions 3 different ways.
Oh, he does.
Now, look, everybody's innocent till proven guilty. We haven't had a real trial yet. We just had a pre-trial hearing. So we'll wait till it's all done. But the folks who are peddling conspiracy theories are not assuming innocence until proven guilty. They're assuming guilt until proven innocent. And you can't prove a negative claim.
All right, that's enough out of this guy. Well, let me make sure I didn't have one more good timestamp of this moron. What are we at? We're at 57. Oh, yeah. Let's go to 101. We'll go right here.
Pre-order it, because then Amazon says, oh, look at all these people that want to buy the book, and then they start advertising it more so more people see it.
You got to plug the book.
So if you're interested in it, I hope you are. Check that out.
Oh, please buy the book.
There was one other thing I wanted to say, other than pray for Erika and TPUSA. Oh, we haven't talked about this yet.
Here we go.
But why does the Bible always talk about having at least 2 witnesses? Right? This is, of course, pre-video days, pre-DNA. If you're going to convict somebody of a crime, you have to have at least 2 witnesses. We actually have video now of Charlie Kirk being shot by Tyler Robinson.
He says they have video, definitive video of Charlie Kirk being shot by Tyler Robinson. What happened to my screen? Oh, you know what it did? It's when my daughters called my wife. That's when that rang, it did something. I remember this has happened before. That sucks. It's going to ruin the quality. I love you. All right, let's continue. Yeah, he's going to say that they have definitive footage of Tyler shooting Charlie. That's the same supposed footage that freaking Jack Posobiec and Benny Johnson, and they'll get 4K, high def, it's enhanced. What a total tool.
And all those witnesses there. Are there witnesses for anything Candace Owens has said?
Wait, I mean,
are there any
witnesses? Is there witnesses for Tyler Robinson shooting Charlie? No, there's just a video that is not of Tyler, but no, you don't have that either.
Witnesses?
You don't have 2. You don't have 1.
She just comes up with possibilities, speculations. Meanwhile, people involved who have been smeared by what she's been saying, and it's not just her, there's others out there, have their livelihoods taken from them, like Brian Harpool, are being smeared, have their security jeopardized. You know, our family has, every time I go to a college campus now, we have to bring a security team, which didn't have to do before Charlie. Now I have to do it. By the way, one other quick thing. Occam's razor, don't multiply causes beyond necessity. Why does anyone think a vast conspiracy is required for this crime?
I think I fixed it.
When all the evidence shows a radical leftist
there it is,
who was involved in a trans relationship.
There it is.
Decided that Charlie needed to die.
Okay.
Because, we've never seen trans violence before, right? We've never seen that, right?
What
No, we've
evidence-
seen plenty of it.
What evidence does Frank have to make that statement? What evidence does Frank have to make that statement? Absolutely none. And he's the one talking about evidence, All right. I found the full clip of where Rob says this thing. Ready?
Don't believe it. I'll be more alive than ever. And that's Charlie. He's alive. And one of the reasons why he had such courage is, what are they going to threaten him with? Heaven?
Yeah, right.
And had God come to Charlie, I believe this wholeheartedly. If God had come to Charlie and had a personal conversation and said, Charlie, Erika's going to be a widow for a few years before the Lord, takes her home, because life is a dash. Your children aren't going to be fatherless, because I'll be a father to the fatherless. But I'm going to take you home, and from your death, 100 people are going to come to Christ. Charlie would say, okay. Well, yeah. Who would have thought this many? I mean, this is unbelievable.
That's right.
These people have no conscience. They have no freaking shame. Okay. Because what it does is it makes us question like Charlie's humanity, that like Charlie was such a good person and Christian that he'd be willing to die so that people could be saved, but that he would never get to spend time with his family and kids and raise his kids. Here's the thing, though. If Charlie had lived, he would have brought more than 100 people to Christ over the next freaking 40 years of his life. Are you kidding me? So the option is that Rob's giving you, like, God comes to Charlie and goes like, okay, you're going to die, but 100 people are going to get saved. And don't worry, Erika's going to be a widow for just a little bit. Then she's going to come up to be with me. And don't worry, though, I'll take care of the kids because I'm God, is what he's saying, right? And father to the fatherless. And that Charlie in that scenario would still say, sure, yeah, sign me up for that. That's disgusting, because he wants us to then, because if we don't accept that, then we're saying, like, supposedly that means that Charlie wasn't a really good Christian if he wanted to stay and live with his kids and his wife and watch his daughter grow up and throw football, coach his son. Charlie said, if he could do anything, he would be a college football coach. If he could do anything else, he would never walk his daughter down the aisle, never be a grandfather. That's such a disgusting lie. Charlie had already brought easily 100 people to Christ over his lifetime, and easily would have brought another 100, if not 1,000 or more, over the next 40 to 50 years if he was alive. He's saying it's an either or. It's like, no, Charlie could have lived and still brought way more people to Christ than through his death. And saying that that's the only option and that Charlie still would have picked death is freaking disgusting of Rob to do. Okay? It's gross. And we know people that knew Rob. Not a good guy. There was a real falling out that happened in Charlie and Rob's life at the end. All right, we're going to watch this, and then we're going to watch some Charlie Kirk clips, and then it'll be a night. All right? So this is Jack Posobiec. This is just short. He is going to call out foreign paid influencers need to disclose their corrupt ties. That's how crazy these people are. Somebody that actually has foreign ties and is a foreign paid influencer is saying that other foreign paid influencers with foreign ties need to disclose those relationships. That's the level of people they've given to us. That's who we have. That's this. It's just nuts, dude. Freaking Jack.
That Charlie Kirk tweeted, one of the last things that he tweeted, one of the last missions that I think he left for us is to get foreign influence campaigns off of X. This was one of the final things that Charlie ever tweeted. He did so on September 4th, 2025, just 6 days, before his murder. And Rich, I know you've seen this. I know you've talked about this. When you see these influence campaigns come up on X, when you see the influence of this, people have to understand it has no impact whatsoever on the electorate, does it?
Such a lie. It sure does. It sure does. That's why, Israel bought TikTok. That's why, Elon bought Twitter, because it was being used improperly before. That's why they wanted to hire and pay Christian social media influencers to shill for Israel. That's why Bibi himself said, this is the new war. This is the new battleground. And we need new warriors, and we need to pay them $7,000 a post, because it does influence people. Because the younger generations aren't getting their news through Fox, through any mainstream media news outlet. The majority of people's information and news comes from some sort of social media platform. So he's a liar, okay? And he got foreign ties and is a foreign agent himself. So, I mean, that's just ironic. He's just a walking hypocrite, Box, cow, fish. You ever play that game? Cat, goat, cheese, pizza. It's a fun game. Mess off official story aside, the actions of everyone closest to him refusing to even be curious about alternative narratives to the slop is so telling. 100%. Great comment. Great comment. Yeah. The fact that Erika immediately, within 11 days, forgave the shooter, and immediately every time after that, and on Barry Weiss, she's like, no, I believe the official story. I've seen all the evidence. I'm part of the prosecution. My lawyers are part of the prosecution. I've seen it all. It's overwhelming. I have no questions. 100%. He did it. Andrew says recently, I played that video yesterday where he's like, no, I'm questioning everything. I'm questioning everything. I'm the biggest questioner out here. I want to look under every rock, no stone unturned, except for whether or not Tyler Robinson shot him with a 30-06. Everything else is fair game except that. That's the whole freaking thing, you freaking moron. I mean, obviously, there's other components that could still be part of that theory, like who radicalized them and who paid for it and who made them do it. But that's pretty much saying, like, I'm open to every theory except every other theory except the official theory. Oh, my gosh, Andrew. Vasiliki, they have created a distorted theology and believe their own nonsense. That is not the benchmark of most Christians. That's toxic. 100%. I agree. Totally agree. All right. Let me pull up my Charlie Kirk clips. And in fact, I wanted to pull up. Well, actually, it's in the history because we never finished the Charlie and Candace clips. Here we go. Or did we? No, I don't think we did. Hold on, because this is what, like 15 minutes? I don't think we made it that far. Let's see. You guys, we didn't make it that far, did we? In this one?
All of a sudden, they can't discredit you,
right?
And when they do, they look like Looney Tunes,
right?
And you're
they are Looney Tunes.
No, that's exactly right. I get the
they are, yeah.
And I'm being very nice by the term Looney Tune, by the way. I'm watching you, Democrat Socialists of America, doing your opposition research. I'm watching you. But you're so effective at it because if they dare challenge you and they come on a college campus and they say, Candace, I'm super oppressed. You could basically say, okay, if we want to have the oppression Olympics,
I'm going to win.
I'm going to win. Gold medal, triathlete.
Don't do it.
You're the Jesse Owens of oppression Olympics,
yes,
right? Being Candace
related
Owens.
to him,
right?
by the way.
There you go.
Yes, I am. And I'm telling you, they don't want to play that game with me. And so, but the media then tries to effectively combat that by just smearing me so they won't even get in the room to hear me because they might. if they come here, Candace Owens, speak, have the audacity to believe in themselves when they walk out of the room.
Right. And imagine if we had a country where more people thought they could do it and someone doesn't have to do it for them.
Right.
And isn't that what has made America the most resilient country ever?
Well, I also want to thank my friend Charlie Kirk from Turning Point.
We should play that clip. I wish we also had the clip of when Trump was asked about Charlie Kirk right after the assassination, and he like talks like for a second, and then he goes, and the ballroom, you know? Yeah, I'm doing great things in the ballroom. It's like Pam Bondi going like about the Jeffy Epi files, and she's like, why can't we talk about the Dow and the NASDAQ? You know, that's how Trump handled the Charlie Kirk assassination. Can we talk about the ballroom?
Worked so hard, and Charlie has done a very special job. You know why? He found somebody who's an incredible person. Candace Owens, an incredible person. In fact, Charlie may go down. His greatest achievement may have been finding Candace Owens.
I cannot not mention this. You were in Chicago, and it was cold in Chicago. There was a snowstorm, and it feels very important to break the story that the Unsundaro brothers are speaking out regarding their hate crime, which took place for Jussie Smollett. I'm sure you saw this in the news today, Charlie. But the amount of fun that
I
you
didn't
and
see
I
that
had,
yet. No
yes,
way.
They spoke out. They're speaking out on Fox Nation, Charlie. Oh my God, it's going to make your life, because you and I hit campuses calling out the
we got
fraud
more
of the
we got
Jussie
more
Smollett
material
story.
out of this than any other news item.
We had way too much fun.
We would show up at a campus like University of South Carolina. What are we going to talk about? Oh, we'll just do the Jussie thing. It would take 30. It would be 30 minutes.
So good. The Subway sandwich in hand.
Yes.
The news. Everything.
That's
they spoke out.
the best part is when the cop comes in. He says, "Why didn't you take the noose off?" It's like the cop's like immediate gut reaction.
Holding the sandwich.
Yes,
with
exactly.
The noose. Like, how good was this foot long, Jesse? You didn't let it go when you were
That's
being
exactly
attacked.
right.
The bleach was being thrown on you, and you were being called the N-word. So the Unsundaro brothers have spoken out, and they're laughing as hard as we laughed, Charlie. And they're just like, how crazy it was for them to watch him then give that infamous interview to Robin. I'm forgetting
Robin
her last
Robinson,
Yeah.
former Chicago
And-
star who went national. Yep.
They start laughing, being like, wow, we really realized how crazy he was when he was faking out these tears. And to go back and watch that interview now, it's so great. He's like, I just want the gay boys coming up in society to know that I fought back. It's glorious, Charlie. You get to relive it today. The Unsundaro brothers.
I'm looking at it. Right. We're going to get some clip, and because maybe for another segment, we're going to play this. And so for that person at the Chicago event, my retort was, he said, there's so much racism in Chicago. I said, here's how I know you're lying. There's so little racism, you have to fake your own hate crimes. Okay.
That's exactly right. And that's why I thought of it, because there's so little racism. Also, it's a majority minority city, so don't even get me started.
You know, I love the quote from George Patton. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. When I first met Candace Owens, I said, I'm getting out of the way and I will follow you. She's a superstar. Candace Owens is without a doubt one of the most important, impactful voices in the conservative movement. I love this short video clip. Don't mess with pregnant Candace Owens.
Hello. What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who actively feel victimized by your presence here today?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question.
I love it.
Get out of there.
Point was sticking with her for this event the same way that they stuck with her throughout all the years.
Oh no,
100%. By the way,
oh my God,
we're not going to back. Are you kidding me? I mean, Candace is she's on our team. She's the best, right? I mean, we're on team Candace.
Did you see Blake? Did you see him shrug his shoulders when Charlie says Candace is on our team? She's the best. Watch.
She's on our team. She's the best, right? I mean, we're on team Candace, and I'm also, you know, I'm on Team Freedom Center too, but you know.
Wait. He's in James Cadiz's office. This is James Cadiz's office right here. That's his chair. He's got to have a very sturdy chair he's 1,000 pounds, guys. But this is the image behind him in his office. He must have been out there doing something either with Erika when she was doing Bible in 365 or when he was speaking at their church, his church.
I got a text message from some lunatic. Charlie, why do you have her still speaking at AmFest? I said, lose my number. Wow. I said, you obviously haven't been through the Tyler remembers, the Charlie Candace thing. I mean, from
everyone thought you were married. They thought you were married. Remember, Charlie? They were like, "Are they married?" Remember?
Who ate Tyler Boyer? Who ate Tyler Boyer? Oh, that's Tyler Boyer. Tyler Boyer ate Tyler Boyer.
It was like by the way, it was this very unsubstantiated internet rumor.
Yeah, that's not true, but.
It's not true. Okay.
I'm remembering some choice memes that I definitely don't have saved on my backup hard drives.
You see opportunity in other people. You see their vision. And when I first met Candace, I can't quite describe it, but there was a magnetism, there was an energy, there was a vision there it was metaphysical. It was beyond anything that words could describe. When you meet those sorts of people in your life, you know that. And I think of Gentry Beach, and I think of Donald Trump Jr. When I've met those people, there's an instantaneous kinetic energy, and you know what I'm talking about, right. Candace? And it's really been an unbelievable honor for us to be able to do this, and I mean that word in its true dictionary definition sense, an honor to be a part of the movement the way we've been able to do it.
Welcome back, everybody. Candace Owens with us. Candace, I got a surprise for you. Play cut 45.
Yes. I thought he was a good actor, but I also was thinking that this guy's a fraud. This guy's really sitting here just lying to these people, lying through his teeth and not caring. I think he shed a tear.
And I want a little gay boy who might watch this to see that I fought back.
This dude crazy, man. He shed a tear, man. This dude wild.
It's amazing. This is the gift that keeps on giving. I forgot that he said this, and I want a little gay boy watching this to know that I fought back.
And he's got his little button too. He's got his little gay pride button. He's got all he's got all the little signs and signals.
I saw Candace Owens. You're friends with Candace, I would imagine.
Yeah. I'm laughing because Candace and I she actually worked for Turning Point for a couple of years. She was our communications director. So yeah, I know Candace. She's a really good friend. She's phenomenal.
Well, I just saw a video of hers. A lot of my friends were sharing out just recently. I don't know if you saw it, but basically she's saying, people, you better stand the f up real quick. That sounds like an alarmist, but at the end of the day, how real is that?
Look, Candace is exactly right. That if people don't wake up and start to do something and start to stand up and honestly say, I don't care kind of what you call me or what, pejorative you throw at me or how you mock me or ridicule me or slander me, I'm going to stand for truth. And I know it's right. And it's a very decent American principle, which is you should be able to succeed and to take risks and be an entrepreneur without having this kind of overwhelming totalitarian fear that has now set in. So I have to say, I agree with Candace.
And let me say this, that there is no replacement for work ethic. And I could tell you from firsthand experience, no one worked harder from the time that we traveled the country than you, Candace.
Can you explain? So what about Tyler Boyer? I'm going to hitch my wagon to someone else that's going to have really good work ethic, and Terrell Farnsworth and Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff and the biggest not hard worker ever, Erika Kirk, Silver Spoon. Did he actually respect any of these people? I don't know. Thank you so much, Carmen San Diego, for the one Black Line Brief membership, gifted membership. All right, you guys, I haven't said this. Oh, no. How long has that not been there? Please do me a favor, hit the like and the subscribe. It is the best way to help support this channel. I appreciate it every time that you do. Also, after the video posts, would you please go write a comment? Even if it's just an emoji, it helps the algorithm. And there's a thing you could do. It's called hyping the video. and you can hype the video for free. And that helps me out, and I appreciate it. All right, you guys, another great night. You guys are the best. God bless you guys. Love you guys. See you guys here tomorrow. All right, God bless. Bye.